It's Friday, August 7th, 2026. Let's start, as we typically do, by reminding you if you'd like to support our show, that you can go to supportourshow.com and select from the array of support options presented to you on that page. Do I have anything to open? Do I have any programming notes? Program the notes. No, not yet. I probably will have a late night update for the next show, but I don't like to announce things before they are absolutely finished. And I won't know that for sure. I have several potential ones lined up, but again, I'm not going to be specific because schedules change. Things happen. So, I'll leave it at that. So do I have anything else programming notes? Did I get any notes of anything?
Fucking life advice right there.
Well, I mean, it really is. I at first, through failure of brain to remember, I would forget to announce things. Back when I thought, oh, who's going to cancel? Now it has become a good habit to not pre-announce because, again, I am at both a advantage and disadvantage in that this show is not significant. Therefore, if somebody has a problem and drops out, I will not lose my temper about it. I will not be upset. I don't care. I don't make a fuss. I work around everybody's schedule because I'm not anybody. So I'm not paying people. I can't offer a million new viewers or listeners or readers or whatever to anybody. I have no heft. There is nothing. I would hope that the people I have on, that some of the people that listen to our show, would then maybe be interested to go. I would love to be able to boost other people. I don't bring people on that I think are scum. So I would love to have the ability to boost somebody's viewers or whatever through the appearance here, but I don't. Therefore, I don't get all bent out of shape if somebody has to literally cancel at the last minute. If they cancel last minute, then I'm firing up the PS5. It's fine. That's it. I block the time out.
You want to know? Yeah. You want to know part of the reason for that though is also because you don't make any money off of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right. You are not dependent on it in any way. So because of that, it makes it so that you can just fuck off.
No. In fact, now this will give away nothing, but actually, give away nothing makes it sound like there's a mystery involved. There is no mystery involved. There is an individual that offers a consulting service to try to help people monetize their shows. And this is somebody that I know. This isn't a random person off the street. I would never even bother. But since it's somebody that I actually know a bit, I at first held off on even broaching the subject because I thought, I don't want to saddle somebody with something that is going to be like rolling a boulder uphill. But now I'm like, well, you know what? No, seriously, because
you know what? Listen,
I don't.
I'm going to tell you right now. Yeah. It would be a lot easier for you to monetize this show if you didn't have me as your co-host because I am the bull in the china shop.
No. Okay. You may think that, but I'm pretty sure that were we to take an AI tool and tell it to analyze who has broached the most obscene subjects, my guess is it's 50-50.
Oh my God!
You didn't jump to bestiality pop-up, right?
Jeez.
You know what? Think about it.
That's a really good question. I really now. Oh God, I'd love to. I would actually love to analyze that.
Feel free. Look, our show feed is public. You could point a tool at it and say,
"Jesus Christ!
Listen to all these episodes." That's a lot. Actually, okay. If you're going to do this, tell it to only listen to the Friday shows. The fives, you know, are going to be fine because those are work safe, and the late nights are hit or miss. So what you want is the core of the Friday shows. So listen to all the Friday shows where Lando and Joe are the only hosts, and determine which of the hosts contributes what percentage of not safe for work content. That's the best way to put it because that's the metric that matters. They really don't care what it is if it's considered safe for work or not. Whatever would trigger an adult age verification. Yeah. That. See what it says. Fine. It's all public, so I don't care if you want to have it dig through there. It doesn't matter to me. But I would guess it's going to be closer to half and half than you think it is. Because we're both bent. So losing you doesn't suddenly make the show all safe. No.
Oh my God. Jesus, what a weird answer.
That quick?
Yeah.
Already? What did it say?
I asked him more. Okay, I asked him more. Broad
give me the prompt.
I wrote which host of the Ozone.
Wait. Which tool did you ask?
I used Gemini.
All right, go ahead.
I said, which host of the Ozone Nightmare is the more not safe for work, Joe or Lando? And it said, when comparing the two hosts of the Ozone Nightmare, Lando generally takes the crown for bringing the more not safe for work, quote unquote, sleazy energy to the show.
Wow.
Oh, God, I'm sleazy. That's fantastic.
Okay,
hold on. There's more.
Yeah,
How their dynamics break down.
Oh, good. This one.
Oh, God. Sorry.
Go ahead. Okay.
Lando, known for leaning into the wilder, unhinged, and explicit side of their film and pop culture discussions. I don't know if I believe that. When the show dives into trash cinema, 70s and 80s Euro sleaze, obscure slashers, or bizarre B-movies, Lando is usually driving force behind curating or championing those choices.
What?
His commentary often pushes the boundaries into unfiltered territory. See, I don't think this thing...
fucking word out of your mouth.
Exactly.
No, okay.
Hold on. It continues. There's the thing on Joe. Joe is no stranger to explicit jokes or raunchy humor and routinely matches Lando's vibe. You match my vibe. He often serves... He often serves as the anchor moderator of the show. Joe tends to lead the structured commentary and film analysis, acting as the grounded straight man to Lando's chaotic energy. Oh, man. That shit is so wrong.
Okay.
Fuck you.
All right. So... I have sort of an idea of what it's coming up with here. Like it sort of makes sense in that. Okay, what was the question again?
Oh God!
Did you ask?
You know what? We gotta get that clip from Total Recall where they go, "What kind of girl would you like? Be honest." And he goes,
"Oh, sleazy." Well, I mean, we do have this.
This is a safe space for filth.
Yeah.
So,
I asked specifically,
yeah.
Which host of the Ozone Nightmare is the most more not safe for work, Joe or Lando? Very broad question.
Okay.
I was just fascinated by what it was.
Well, the problem there is with the way that question is structured.
Yeah.
What I don't know is if it's including the fives, because if it is, that's going to dilute me
hold
considerably.
On. Let's
please
play the AI game here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Does
anything change if you exclude the 5 minute? Daily fives?
I'm going to be more specific. Let's play the AI game.
It may not. I don't know what it considers the Ozone Nightmare. Is more
okay. Exclude all the fives?
Yeah.
And the late nights.
Yeah. Does this change anything? Does this change your conclusions or whatever?
Hold on.
Well, topic 1 for the evening is sleaze.
I have excluded the 5-minute shows.
Okay. It may not change anything. I don't know.
It doesn't.
But, yeah?
It still
Okay.
thinks I'm the sleazy one. Yes. When you're restricting the evaluation strictly to the flagship long-form Friday episodes, God, I hate
flagship.
it. Fucking hate it.
Oh.
Stripping away the short daily Today on the 5 micro episodes and any standalone late night specials, Lando still holds the title as the more not safe for work host of the Ozone Nightmare.
Okay, all right. That that sentence I would agree with.
It says you've got conversational energy, though.
Well, okay, so there's a difference in the two things you just read, in my mind. So the first one was that you were more sleazy.
Well, it was part of what it said,
and that I grounded and moderated the conversation.
Yeah.
Which, again, I would point to Darth Maul's crotch and the bestiality pop-up as evidence that that's not true. But if we switch to the idea that you... What was the sentence you just read? That you're more what? The secondary, the refined one. What was the answer
Lando
again?
still holds the title as the more non-safe work host of the Ozone Nightmare?
Yeah, okay. All right, that I could actually understand because based on our conversations up until now, that thing clearly understands that I work in a professional
It does.
environment.
Oh, yeah. It says that Joe often directs the show's structure, tech gaming discussion, and topical analysis, while Lando thrives on chaotic banter, blue humor, and taking commentary off the rails.
Well, see, again, I would argue that some of those were equal, but...
What the fuck is blue humor?
That's swearing. You never heard that term? Blue?
No, I've never heard that.
That's comedians will... Okay, like Sinbad doesn't look blue.
Explicit content. Look at that. I never knew that. Blue
I can't
humor.
believe... Oh, yeah, that's a very old comedy term.
Blue humor.
Yeah.
Apparently,
if a comedian works blue... I think I've said that on late nights where I've told people, if you want to go blue, we can. And nobody's ever said, what does that mean? So I guess everybody knows.
I didn't know what that meant.
But
I'm not involved in any kind of entertainment.
See, the fact that I knew that means I'm clearly more sleazy than you. But like I said, I do actually understand what it's saying in the totality because...
Do you want to know what the real problem is?
Sure.
If somebody looking to invest money into a show looked us up, this is the report they would get.
Well, okay, that's...
So,
well,
hey,
actually...
Listen.
I forgot. You reminded me.
Yeah?
I got a opportunity offered.
God. This is for ball shaving again?
No. I'm actually probably going to take this person up. Hold on.
Oh, dear.
Because... Well, I have to get details, but let me hold on. Where is it? Number one, because it could be an AI, but it sounds like a person. I'm not going to get specific until I get more details, but I was given where is it? Didn't they send it to the show account? Hold on. It was recent. Hold on a minute. Let me do all inboxes. I hate how this Google works. No. Where was the thing? It was no, it wasn't that. Was it this? Oh yeah, this was bullshit, but that's not that one. Here it is. Okay, I'm going to omit details.
Okay.
Hi Joe. That's okay. I found Ozone Nightmare, although the fact there's no but whatever, and like the gaming angle. This thing. Okay, hold on. I gotta. I'll skip what the thing is. Do you ever work with sponsors where you're looking for creators who'd be interested in trying this thing during episodes, clips, or video content and discussing a possible sponsorship? Now, the thing itself, again, I don't want to be specific because the person might be listening if this is not an AI, and I don't want to, throw anybody under the bus.
Well,
the thing
if it's
itself,
AI, it's definitely listening.
Well, the thing itself, I would actually be curious to try and evaluate. And what I'm going to respond is, I'm happy to try this out. And if you're interested in my honest opinion, I will give it. And honestly, this thing, it's an application, so I can say what it is. So people don't think it's like a car or something. This application I have a way of actually comparing it to something I use often, which is important because if you don't have a comparison point, I don't know what the value of a review is. You have to be able to say, well, here's something I rely on. This thing does something similar. I can compare and say that they're on equal terms, or one is better or one is lesser, right? So I have an actual frame of reference, which I value. I don't know how normal reviewers do stuff like this, but I value having a point of reference for what I'm going to evaluate. So the Manscaped thing, if that worked out, would I put this thing on my crotch and see what it did? Yeah, once, sure, but just so I would know. But I'd have no real reference point because it's not like I'm swimming in crotch shavers. So it's kind of like, well, what good is my review, really? But I think that's more of a just say nice things about it type of thing, and it'd be more of a joke. Whereas this, I would actually go, okay, I'll try it. I'll use it during the show. See if, there's any real tangible difference.
We're not talking about crotch shavers anymore, right?
No, we're not talking about crotch shavers. We're talking about this thing, this offer that's come across the transom.
Got it.
And I'd say, as long as you are fine with me being honest in my evaluation, then that's fine. And if that's the acceptable terms, actually, let me see something on this. I don't know if I think this costs a small amount of money. I'd even say I'll just buy it. And does it? Let's see. Does it have a price on it?
Isn't that the gimmick that they get you to buy it by asking if you want to review it, and they've tricked you into buying it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, if it's $200, I'm not buying it. If it's $2, I'm buying it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to worry about $2. That's I want to see what the details of it are, because if it's good, I would use it, although I'll be honest, for what the use case is for this particular app, I don't know that I'm necessarily the target audience, but I'll be very upfront about that because I'm not chasing cash on this thing, clearly. So as long as this stuff is all, upfront and agreed upon and I have it in writing, I don't care. And if they want to sponsor the show, if it's something that I actually use and think is good, I have no issues with that. I would not want to read prepared copy unless, again, my stipulation would be, you can send me copy, but if I don't agree with it, I'm not going to read it. If any of this is not right, then let's just stop here and be done with it. No hard feelings. And, that was one other thing. At the end of it, hold on, I did like the very end of this, which again, it could be machine copy. If that sounds interesting, let me know and we can talk about rates and what the sponsorship would involve. If not, no worries. And I'm like, okay, at least it's being casual and not like, I'm really looking forward to working with you in the future. Like a lot of these copy and paste things try to end on this note of, yeah, we're going to do this, buddy. It's going to be great. This doesn't have that. It's just like, hey, man, if you're not interested, who cares? Which is my kind of end when I send out podcast interview requests. I'm like, hey, man, if not, no problem. Like, I'm the same way. So I kind of like that now maybe it's mimicking me. Maybe it's a very good AI that's figured out that my laid back and casual approach to things is a thing to mimic to get me personally to emotionally respond to it, in which case, okay, it worked. But I'll see what's involved. Well, like I said, and this, by the way, this ties back into the idea of this consultant for making money monetizing, because how many sponsors are going to be okay with that litany of shit I just laid out where, okay, I get to say what I say. If it sucks, I'm going to say it. You can't control what I'm going to say. And I'm not going to read your copy if I don't agree with it. That's just nuked 99% of anybody who would fund anything. They're not going to want that. They're going to want to know they can send me something, some boilerplate, so I can be like, Helix mattresses are really good for your back. The fuck they are. I guess that blows a Helix mattress sponsorship, but, whatever. Let's
kill them before we can get them. Got it.
Whereas on the other side, if Tempur-Pedic came to me and said, hey, we'd like you to talk nice about our mattress, I would, because when my wife got in a car accident and her back was killing her and we got a Tempur-Pedic mattress, it did help, and that was not sponsored. Nobody sent it to us. We paid for it, but I know it works. So I'd be like, yes, I've owned your shit I've owned Tempur-Pedic pillows since 1998, and until the company goes out of business, I will not sleep on anything else. Nobody paid me to say that. So if Tempur-Pedic, if you're listening and you'd like to throw some money my way to say how great your pillows are, My wife hates them, but I don't, and I do the show, so you're fine with me. Because she ain't going to get on here and say nothing. She thinks they're terrible, but she ain't doing the show. I am, and I fucking love them.
She doesn't like the Tempur-Pedic pillows?
No, she hates them. She likes pillows that you could basically sink into and become put on a milk carton for.
Now, see, and the thing is, I used to use the Tempur-Pedics, but they're not, because when they get warm, they get a bit too melty. I have to use these.
Yeah, and when they get cold, you could kill an intruder with them.
I know, so. I love that. That's when I like them. I end up using the pillow cubes because I have really broad shoulders and I'm a side sleeper.
Well, the Tempur-Pedics are a lot different now than when I started using them. I used to sell them.
The pillow cubes are so cheap now from when I used to, I first started using them. You know when something gets really cheap and then you get, suspicious? Where you're like, oh, yeah, this used to cost a lot more. Why doesn't this cost as much as it used to cost? What's going on here? Yeah.
Yeah.
That worries me.
I am suspicious of such things.
Yeah. You know what? Listen,
that's what I'm saying.
I bought a head shaver today, and when I got to the counter, I didn't see the price. And I brought it up to the counter, and she gave me the price. And I was like, that's a little low for a head shaver, don't you think? And she looked at me really confused, and she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. I was like, and I looked at my wife and I was like, isn't that a little bit suspicious to you? And my wife was like, no, I totally agree. Because you know what? It was I think it was $45. But this is like a not like a buzzer. This is like an electric razor, like one of those ones.
Oh no, I have a barber shop quality beard trimmer.
Yeah,
so you don't have to tell me.
I thought it was a bit light, and I was like, it's not that I want to pay more, but
for how much?
It was like $45.
Hold on, I want to see what I paid for my beard trimmer.
It's one of those. It's like, it has all those. Either way, I looked at it and looking at the object, right, and the aspects of it, I thought this has got to be like $80 or $90.
Yeah, no, sure, no, I understand.
Why is this half the price? And then it sets off your alarms. This is the whole.
Yeah.
If it's too cheap, you don't trust it because you're like,
I agree.
Why is this so cheap?
Or at the very least, I'm like, is the company going out of business?
Oh, I've been worrying about. I've worried about them for a while about that because they're a small company. I think they tried to get into mattresses, and I don't know if that worked out for them. And square pillows is a weird thing. Like it works for a very specific group of people. I got big shoulders, so it's like I like having something to kind of hold my neck up.
My beard trimmer is $84. So
there you
if
go,
it
right?
suddenly was $30,
yeah, and the thing is,
I'd be like,
you start to establish like kind of a price point in your head. You're like,
well, and like this beard trimmer it's weighty. It's not plastic. It's fucking metal.
Yeah,
it's metal top to bottom except for the little guard that goes over the blade.
A full what do you call it? Like a barbershop buzzer because I wanted to use the 5-0 setting, and you can only get that on the barbershop level ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I wanted this one. Yeah. I wanted the barbershop quality one because I wanted it to last. Because a lot of the cheaper ones they get stuck up with hair and they burn out.
Yeah.
And this one has
the 4-0 shaving with that is the 5-0 thing. That is as close a shave as you can get without a razor.
Well, I don't go down that far. That mine can, I'm sure, do the same thing. But I just like my goatee at a certain length. Like I know what it is. When it starts to itch, too long.
That's for my head. I
don't know. I could, if I took the guard off, I could shave my head.
There you go.
Like it's very clear about when you need the guard and when you don't.
Trying not to take the show off the conversational rails, as I am apparently accused of, I was getting back to the fact that I support you in your endeavor to attempt to make money.
Incidentally, this thing that says you take it off the rails clearly skips the first 5 to 10 minutes of every show. Because I'd say 80% of the first 5 to 10 minutes is you sitting back while I just spiral into the fucking cosmos off of my support page shit.
Well, you like to explain to people what's going on and what's going to happen, and it's cool.
Yeah.
That's fine. I just know that it's I had a terrible and interesting realization with my child today. My youngest is very artsy, and they're kind of in that mindset where they're like, I am artsy and I just want to do art stuff and blah blah blah. And I looked at them and I was thinking about the fact that I and also artsy. I wanted to write for many, many years, and I tried, and I wrote, and I did different things, and it didn't work out for me. And the thing is, my mother wanted to be a painter, and that shit didn't really work out for her either because life got in the way, And like this is very often the thing that happens with artists, where there's this art that you love.
Sure.
But it was funny because I was talking to my youngest about it, and I said to them, I was like, listen, I was like, you know what? I was like, I have hope for you. I was like, I'm not, that if you want to go into the arts, I was like, by all means, it's like, give it a shot. I was like, you might be the one that gets it. And I realized in that moment that I was a failed artist, that I had wanted to do a job in the arts and that I couldn't. It just never worked, and I mean, fail is a strong word, but that's kind of what it is, that you wanted to do it, you couldn't do it, and then you ended up doing other things, You are the more successful of the two of us when it comes to art, because you actually sold your art. You fucking did the impossible, sir. But it's interesting because it's almost like a strange, I don't know, call it a curse, but it's almost like a strange curse you hand down. The whole idea of, well, the arts didn't work for me, maybe it'll work for you. Well, the arts didn't work for me, maybe it'll work. And it's like you pass it down to the next generation, have hope that maybe you can live off your art. It was fascinating. It was a fascinating realization. I thought it would bum me out more than it did, but in a weird way, it kind of just made me understand my mom better. And I think that's one of the things about parenting, that the more parenting you find yourself doing, as long as you had parents and weren't like, psychopaths, the more you start to figure out shit that happened with your parents and how it connects to you, and you're like, oh yeah, I was like, what, that makes a lot more sense now, because yeah, I always wonder why my mother didn't go back to painting, and I was like, well, she couldn't. She had kids, and she was married, and she had a lot of shit going on, and there were bills, and this paid more, and she didn't have. She ran her own business with my father, and there just wasn't time, and it's that kind of thing where it's like, it's just hard. It's hard to do all of it. So, and now we'll see if my youngest takes a crack at it when they get older. We'll see. Yeah. So, it was a funny realization. Which kind of leads me into the next question I have for you. Because
goody.
I had a strange thing happen to me.
Oh.
Have you ever created art that
never
oddly moved you to tears?
Yes.
Really?
But not. You mean created your own thing that did?
Like you did something, and then you looked at it, and it like made you weepy.
Okay, so I don't know if this is exactly what you're asking. But, and I know I've mentioned this before, but I don't know if I've mentioned this element of it. I mean, I don't think I actually cried, but, I did I did the Shieldred card, right?
Yeah.
And lots of people like the Shieldred card, although sorry, side tangent. I did remember we watched Black Sunday, the one with the woman who comes back from the dead, the demon woman, black and white.
Yeah.
And she has that part where she comes out, she's got the holes in her face from the Iron Maiden.
Yes.
I had done one of the cards that people typically don't like as much. I'd done her with the holes in her face on the back one, and somebody's like, holy shit. And he knew the name of the character. And I was like, I will absolutely hold this card for you until you're ready to pay for it. Because he's like, it might be wrong. I'm like, you got it, man. You said her name. Fine. It's yours. I've locked it for you.
You were moved by somebody's attention to the detail.
The fact that the guy used the name and didn't identify the movie. He just said the name and I knew who he was talking about. I'm like, holy shit. You didn't say the woman from Black Sunday. You didn't say the actress's name. You said the character's name specifically, knowing that I would get the reference, right? It's like, that holy shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That just happened. But the reason I said that is because it's not one of the more popular cards. So I've had that card done for a long time. And anyway, the character's name is Asavaja, which I'm probably mispronouncing. But anyway, this person said, I would love to have the Asavaja. I'm like, you got it, man. And he said, it might be, no problem. It's yours. Whenever. In any event, that's not the thing I was talking about. So I did the children,
Yeah.
which it continues to be randomly popular, where people will ask for things about it and they say they like it and stuff. And then somebody on Blue Sky, there was a trans woman who had said something, and that she'd love to get a version of it on a shirt. And I said, well, I can't give you the card version because Hasbro restricts what you can do. You can only, I know I've said this before, but just as in case anybody doesn't remember, the artwork on the card itself, I can only sell prints of it. No other type of merchandise. I don't know why. They don't sell shirts or anything else of it, but that's their restriction. Fine. I play by the rules. So I made an alternate version that's very similar so that I could sell it on whatever I wanted. And that has, people have bought shirts and all that stuff, and they like it. I have a shirt of it because I like it. And so this woman asked, and I'd seen some posts, and this person had gone through some rough shit with transitioning and everything else. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do you one better. Because I had the original, and I have all the layers. So I went through, and if you look at the variant that I did, there's all these radiating...
Right?
What's that?
This is the rainbow one you did, right?
Yes. So basically, I went and I looked up at the time, things may have been added, so I may be a little behind on this, but I looked up every single color grouping and all this, because basically I believe there's 3 main flags that are involved. There's the LGBTQ, like the rainbow, the kind of standard rainbow, or the classic rainbow, I guess I'll call it. Then there's the trans colors, which are pink, blue, and white, I think. And then there was I believe a black trans flag, which has a name and it's escaping me. So I'm like, okay, I can work all those in. So I redid this and I'm like, here, this one, get this one. This one is for you. And she was so grateful, sent me this very long message. And I'll admit, I got very emotional about it because I was like, it's great. Somebody buys the card. Somebody buys an AP. Oh, that's fine. That's an exchange of goods. It's all normal, right? That's just art. And for all I know, the people buying it are doing it to put it in a collection because they're doing it to build a huge collection to sell later. I really don't know the intent. I'm sure some people really love the art. I'm sure some people are building like art, what do they call it? Speculation type stuff.
Yeah.
But this was a direct one-to-one thing. And the person sent me a picture of her wearing the shirt. And that I sat there for like 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, this, if I do nothing else, I did that. Like, it doesn't even matter if the card's out there. That is more important.
Yeah, you felt like you made a human connection.
I made somebody, I hope, I alleviated the weight of something very personal and heavy and rough for, I don't know, however long that she wears the shirt. That person understood that somebody had no problem with them being themselves and was, in fact, willing to alter a piece of art, which, hey, it wasn't that much effort. I just replaced colors. It's not like I, lifted 100-pound weights for 3 hours. But it still took the step. And I was like, that's it. That's the closest I've gotten to what you're talking about, which wasn't really cry. I wasn't moved to tears, but I had to sit back and just kind of sit there and go, if there's no other artistic success this way, I will always have that moment. So I'm good. Type of thing.
And listen, and that is a great moment to have somebody want your art and to connect with it in that level. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I came to like a really funny psychological realization. I was writing a scene in which a character is judged in my story. A character who, up to that moment, he's cursed. He's cursed by a dragon. Because this has got fantasy elements and sci-fi elements, and he's a pyromancer who considers himself to be a monster because he has this terrible thing in him that can sometimes cause trouble. And at one point, they are attacked by a great phoenix, which is a very large version of a phoenix, because the phoenix thinks there's a dragon. And when the phoenix realizes it's not, it begins to kind of psychically communicate with this character. And when it realizes that he's not a dragon, that he's a victim, it begins to kind of study his mind. And there is this big sequence I wrote where essentially this phoenix looks through his life and is judging to decide whether it's going to help him. And I had this thing snuck up on me, this idea that, the character is judged by this creature, and at the end of it, the creature basically tells him that he's good. And I don't know why, but that phrase and the character's realization, I was kind of weepy about it, because I was like, you know what? I was like, I realized that on some level, I was like, that's kind of what a lot of young men want, is they want someone to look at them and to look at their choices and to say to them, hey, you're good. You know, like to definitively have I was telling my wife about it. And my wife is like, yeah, she's like, because it is like, it's not divine, but it is divine, because a phoenix is a kind of divine creature, right? And to have a divinely good creature judge you and find that despite all the mistakes you may have made along the way, you are still good. It caused the character to have an emotional breakdown. And as I was writing it, I got weepy, because I was like, Jesus Christ, what that must feel like to basically have your mind read by something, and then to have it. I mean, it's like being anointed by a god, right? At which point the character then realizes that his clothes are soaked with the phoenix tears, and they have to figure out a way to squeeze it all out, because phoenix tears are incredibly magical. Which I just have this terrible feeling now of everyone basically having a little a little canteen full of phoenix tears that smells like sweat. Anyway, also, by the way, do you know what a phoenix smells like?
Do I know what?
Have you ever read about this?
I would assume like ash and heat.
Okay, so apparently, mystically,
am I right?
No, only partially.
No, it's probably going to be like patchouli.
No, it's cinnamon, basil, frankincense, and myrrh.
So it's patchouli.
It's not patchouli. Cinnamon is not patchouli. But I didn't know that. I thought that was so weird. In writing that, it was a funny realization, because I was like, Jesus, like, you know what? I would have an emotional moment if that happened to me. If something, I guess, divine judged me, and despite my misgivings about myself, it said, hey, you're good. I think you're good. Despite what you may believe, you are good. And it was, and then I felt so lame, because, you know, like, it just seems so, oh, man. It's like that cheesy shit. It happens, and you're like, oh, man. I was like, is this so lame that, like, I've had this emotional response to this, you know, where it's like, because that, like, we all just want to be good boys, right? So I figured I would ask you, because like I said, there's a psychological aspect in there where, you know.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I've never created something that I then looked at and internally isolated myself, went, wow, I've liked things I've made, but I've never been like that.
Let's be very clear. I did not look at this and go, wow. That's a different emotion.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
But I emotionally looked at it and was like, Jesus Christ, I would probably have a breakdown.
But in other words, there was no external factor. That was you having written something, evaluated. That's what I'm saying. I've never had that. I've only had it externally done. Yeah, I've created for somebody else, and their reaction was the response, not mine.
Yeah, I mean, it was
I thought it was like, oh, okay, I'm just doing something nice from somebody, but it was the response.
Yeah, I had to walk away. Like, I usually write a section, which is anywhere from like 2 to 3 pages, and then I will basically start the framework of the next section, and then I'll walk away to give my brain some kind of space from it, and then I'll go back and revise the previous section and start filling out the next section. But I finished that one section, and I was like, I gotta walk away from this. I gotta walk away so that I can establish whether this is all just some fucking bullshit. Because that's the other thing too. Sometimes you get too deep into it, right? And you're like, okay, maybe this is bullshit. Maybe I've just been bullshitting myself. So I walked away, and then I came back later and I read it, and I got all weepy again. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I sat there and I thought, man, I was like, I really hope that at some point this sees the light of day, and I find out whether anybody else has a reaction to this. Because, like, for me, after the fact, sometimes when I write, I know where things are going on like a cosmic level, but I don't know where the things are going to necessarily on a moment-to-moment level. There's a thing in writing where you get so far into it that it's like, man, it's like you're discovering it. It's like it's just happening. Like you aren't so much making it up as you are experiencing it. You know what I mean? It's almost like active dreaming. It's just like this mode I get into sometimes. And this is why I always eventually come back to it, because there's nothing in my life that's quite like this weird feeling. It's the feeling of being elsewhere. Anyway, so I did not know this scene was going to go the way it was. I had outlined that something like this was going to happen, but I did not plan for it. And then this thing kind of rolled out on me, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And listen, maybe it says a lot about me that if I was judged by a divine being, I would want it to tell me that I was a good boy. Maybe I was a dog in a previous life.
Sure.
But I just thought that was it was funny. It's a new experience. I've never done that to myself before, and I figured I would ask you as another artist if you had ever done that. But
that's the closest I've come.
Yeah, and again, this goes back to the whole: you're a successful artist, and I am a failed artist. You had a successful connection with a person because of your art.
Yeah.
Whereas I have never had that, so it would be nice. Be nice to have that. I once depressed the shit out of somebody with my book. That was pretty funny. Somebody read it and said it was the most depressing thing they'd ever read.
Yeah. Well, let's say, look, you caused a reaction. That's the point of art.
There was definitely a reaction. Yeah.
The only thing you don't want is indifference.
Yes, I suppose so. But I mean, I'd like something more than depression, if possible.
Well, I don't. Obviously, what I'm saying is to have nobody see it at all is the worst reaction to art. Is
sometimes,
nothing.
Yep, I suppose nothing. Nothing is bad. So, I figured I'd ask. Hey, and if anyone's listening, and you have moved yourself to an emotional reaction through your own art, by all means, write in. I'm curious how people. Art is all about reaction. Joe is correct. Yeah. And I think the other thing too is I'm writing this for a different audience than I normally. In my mind, I write stuff for myself, but I have stopped that because I am not to be trusted. So everything I write now, I'm writing for. I'm going for a more adolescent audience, or at least a younger adult audience than me.
Sure. Which
is why I've cut down on the sex and the sexual reference, although there is still some minor sexual reference. Because
your sleazy metric is going to fall.
Oh my god! You know how hard it is to, wow. I like to write about sex. It's a fun topic, and needing to avoid it.
Speaking of which,
did you find something sleazy?
You look and you tell me.
Are you sending me something?
I sent it to you on Zoom. That's. I don't even know what to make of that, but it's pretty awesome.
Oh, it's a PCS. The PCS ones are the worst. Those are the ones that always get you. It hasn't loaded yet. It's still trying to load. All I can see is Chun-Li. Oh my god!
Look at that.
That's a fuckable sex bot right there. That can kill you.
That's the alternate edition. The regular one is just in her normal outfit, but I like that one better.
Okay, the PCS people. These are the people that did my.
Perverts.
These are the perverts that did my squatting Chun-Li statue.
This is a safe space for filth.
Yeah. And I love that statue. It's in the center of my office. One of the places I work. One of the things I did though is I put a whole bunch of Lego people underneath her, looking up. It makes me laugh every time I walk by.
That's great.
But no, PCS does some absolutely stunning statues.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I like that one.
That is a good one. Yes. So yes, it's difficult not to be sexy because it's a topic that I enjoy. It's fun, and trying really hard not to be is I have to
Sure.
I have to make sure that I back away from things. I know what it is. I have a thing in my story where somebody is basically they kind of get possessed with like a battle rage, almost like a, what do they call that in books? Sometimes they've got
Berserker rage,
like a berserker rage, right? And the fight's over, and they've known to fight, and they don't know what to do with him, and they lure him into a brothel. And then when they ask where the character is later, they say, "Oh, he's with the brothel." And they're like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "He's with the entire brothel." And when they leave, they have to pay the whole brothel because that's what it took to stop this guy from his berserker rage.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think it's fucking funny. I was like, but is it too sleazy?
Sure.
I'm very like, and God, I think I find myself having to be so PG-13. I gotta keep like looking at the PG-13 rating and going, this is PG-13, right? It's not too much. It's not too much, right?
Sure.
So anyway,
well, don't forget,
yes.
sex is fine. It's blood.
Yeah, but when it comes to books, sex is not fine.
Hey, I'm just saying, if you're going by PG-13,
is that what it is? Sex is fine, no blood.
Oh, yeah.
I thought there was a limit to the amount. Hold on,
no. Okay. Of course, there is a limit. You can't have full frontal nudity in PG-13. But what I'm saying is, if you have a scale, and that scale on one side is sexual content, the other is violence, you can weigh down the sex side more just by obscuring a few things. You know what I mean?
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So sexually oriented nudity is not allowed.
Yeah.
So can you have non-sexually oriented nudity?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so full-on sex scenes or sexually explicit behavior are not permitted. Sustained or sexualized nudity is prohibited. Only brief non-sexual nudity is allowed. Okay.
Right. So basically,
yeah.
a lot of these, if you look into filmmakers who've gotten an R rating and changed it, what they mostly have to change is the amount of blood and violence.
Yeah.
To the point where if they just, it's one of the reasons, and this does make sense, is that a lot of filmmakers use digital blood. Is that way all they have to do
afterwards,
is remove it.
Yeah, prolonged torture.
Put it in for the unrated version. That's it.
No prolonged torture, no bloody carnage, no realistic gore. You can add action sequences in sci-fi battles, but heavy bloodshed or graphic consequences of violence are restricted. That's why, what was it, when they made the blood... Oh, was it green and there's something else?
Yes.
It's like when in Predator, the blood is green, but there was a movie
if it's green, it's fine. Anything that's not red is fine.
Oh, yeah, you know, it was Predator Badlands. The android's blood is white.
Android's blood is white.
And the Predator's blood is green, so you're fine. You can make it gory.
So they're fine. Well, it's like RoboCop. RoboCop, the original cut of RoboCop, was given an X rating. Now, there's barely any nudity in that, and really no sexual situations. It's all violence. Yeah. So that's why in that opening scene where Ed 209 shooting the guy, the R-rated version is a lot shorter. You don't see. They don't do the rotating camera around showing Weller's head or the dummy with a hole through it that you're looking through because that's what got it. But sexual stuff, they didn't have to cut any of that. There was barely any to begin with, but that would have been fine.
Leave.
It was explicitly
Bitches
violent.
leave. What was
it? And no nudity in that scene.
Bimbos leave.
Just cleavage, but no nudity.
Well, there you go.
He waited till Starship Troopers to have all the nudity.
Oh, but you know what? I'll give you this. At least in Starship Troopers, the truly over-the-top nude sequence in that movie is so unsexualized. It's a bunch. I appreciate that about him.
It's a co-ed military shower. There's no sexualization to it.
Yeah.
No, they're talking about like having kids and citizenship.
Growing up.
It is completely deroticized. Like it is. It is. It's like the Dark Crystal sapling being drained of eroticism type of thing. Like it's all drained out. It's just the empty, hollow nudity just sitting there. Like that movie we watched where there was so much that you just became desensitized to it. Like, oh yeah, whatever.
Oh, which one was that? Is that the one with...
Obsession.
Yeah,
that was the Virginia Hay one.
Point where you're like, I don't care.
There's so much it doesn't matter anymore. It becomes white noise.
More boobs. Okay.
Yeah, white noise nudity.
White noise nudity. Yep, that's pretty much what it becomes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything else for you.
Do I have
Anything else for me, Mr. Wizard?
I don't. No, I don't. Wait. Do I? What do I think I do? Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Make the gears work for a minute. Was there something else? No, I talked about the sponsorship thing.
Did anybody email the show?
No. I mean, not besides the sponsorship opportunity thing.
Oh, the sponsorship opportunities.
Yeah. No, I guess not.
You know, we have plenty to talk to, so just hit it.
Yeah. All right. Hold on. Where is Oh, it's under the heading. We watched a movie. Makes sense if I actually just read it.
Just give me the essence of the thing, the juice, you know.
You shut the fuck up!
Thanks for killing my mom.
See white girls bore me.
You can eat shit and die, Colonel.
I do want you to come.
I didn't have anything special for this one. There were no really good sound bites or anything like that I could think of for the movies we watched, so I didn't bother.
Okay.
Did I? No, I didn't. Yeah, I was just looking because I have all the other ones I've done, which is now... God, how many are there? 1, 2, 3... There's like 10. Yeah.
It was a good week.
Yeah, okay, so...
Not all good movies.
We basically did 90s week. And really one of the movies, it was 3 movies this week, which is, we have been doing 3 movies, and we normally wouldn't, except I'm doing a double feature with Dr. Doug Bielmeyer, and we're going to be doing the 93 Super Mario Brothers movie and 1996's Space Truckers. So you and I will be watching that one soon. And so I was like, well, instead of me trying to fit in watching this movie around when we normally watch something, just watch it. We'll just have one extra movie. And now the interesting part is, so we will be watching this movie again, sort of, because I've read that the extended edition is actually a much better movie. So at some point, but not for a while,
we're going to watch Mario.
Yeah, we'll be watching Mario. Yeah, so because Doug agreed that we want to watch 2 movies where the extended cut improves the film significantly. But we can't do Alien 3 because you and I already covered that. Highlander 2 doesn't count because you still can't make that movie good. Stuff like that. It has to be something where you just can't.
You just can't make it good.
You just can't. No, you're not going to erase. Even getting rid of the aliens aspect doesn't make Highlander 2 good. It still sucks. So even Virginia Madsen's stunning beauty and Sean Connery's magnificent death speech cannot save that movie. They just can't. So we will be watching it again at some point. But anyway, we watched the theatrical cut of Super Mario Bros. Because they spell it BROS, period. So that's how I'm saying it. This is the 1993 film, which was the first real modern big-budget video game adaptation. Some people cite The Wizard. I do not, because it is not a video game movie. It simply is a video game commercial.
It's it's about video games, but it's not a video
Yes, which there had been. War Games predated The Wizard. So if we're going to do that, then War Games is the first video game movie, which it is not. So this was the first one where they attempted to do an adaptation of a video game property.
Yeah.
And the results, the main thrust, as a bit of a preview, of our recording, me and Doug's recording, was Doug trying to figure out who this movie was for.
Oh,
he really just couldn't.
But I mean, that's exactly what we did. We were watching it, and I was sitting there going, God, who did they make this for?
And finally, I figured it out. And Doug agreed that this is the most logical yet doomed to fail explanation for what this movie's intent was. This movie was for art weirdo 14-year-old boys. That's what it is. Which unfortunately...
Oh, well, shit.
is not a huge audience.
Then they made it for me because I saw it in theaters.
And I've liked this movie. I've mentioned liking this movie all along. I've always liked this movie. So clearly, yes. The problem is we're not a mainstream audience by any stretch.
Not at all.
We aren't now. We weren't then.
Never
so
were.
to make that movie, which I still maintain was made by Oingo Boingo weirdos, is to essentially doom it to a niche audience. And so for a Nintendo film, which is what this is, that does actually... This is the other part I think most people, if they haven't seen it for a while or didn't like it, don't remember correctly. And this sounds astonishing, but I've looked it up and backed this up. This is a very faithful adaptation, but not at all what a normal audience would expect a Super Mario Brothers movie to be. This movie is so accurate, in fact, that what a lot of people complained about, I remember this way back, was why isn't Mario with the princess? That was a lot of people's complaint.
Because it's not Peach.
Right.
It's Daisy.
The movie correctly puts Luigi with Daisy, which is generally accurate to the video games. So even in that detail, which is fucking lunacy, because again, most people, even at the time...
That's why Mario is with fucking Marissa Tomei.
Hey, the man's got taste, is all I can tell you. I have now started to also realize, this is now becoming very evident, that many of my reviews are going to be based on whether there is a stacked, dark-haired woman from New York in them.
An Italian woman with big hair? Yes, because when she shows up...
And tight outfits, it's just the Matrix is going to shoot
Mario,
yeah.
come taste the sauce. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know.
Taste it, Mario.
Yeah,
taste it.
The reality is that Joe likes this movie because there's a lot of Italian girls in it. That's what it is.
This is true. I don't know why there's a disparagement about women from Queens. That is not accurate. I don't know where they're coming up from that. I always remember it being Long Island women, but that was when I was younger, and that's a completely different conversation.
You know what?
So
I remembered this movie very poorly. And because I hadn't seen it in a long time. Although I had seen it since, but I hadn't seen it in a long time. Yeah. I remembered it very poorly. And I was not looking forward to it. I was pretty sure this was going to be like kind of a silly time. And I'll admit, watching it with you, I accept now that it is much better than I remember it being, but it is not for me. It is not for me a Mario movie, like a Super Mario Brothers movie. It feels like someone said, hey, let's take the idea and then make something kind of fun and weird. And the movie is fun and weird. I mean, Koopa is Dennis Hopper, which, you know, he is so nutty in this movie. You know, and the fact that the movie got made at all is fascinating because if you really think about the directors, it was a husband and wife team. They basically pissed off everybody. Bob Hoskins says this is the worst movie that he's ever done. Which honestly, it's very interesting because one of the other movies we watched, the actress who was in that movie said that was the worst movie she's ever done as well. So fascinating. But Joe pointed out to me when we were watching it that if you stop and you look at the world that they're in, it is very fully realized. There is lots of shit going on. When you look at the city streets, there's just all this weird going on. Like, this is not a half-assed movie by any stretch of the imagination. They went as far as they fucking wanted. They've got these weird vehicles that work on this weird power grid. They've got these weird jump boots. There's a whole kind of weird culture in there. You know, it's like they took the video game sensibility and they were like, okay, let's turn this into something, you know, real and weird. And honestly, it feels very 80s. I know that's what, 91, 92? What year is it?
93.
It feels so 80s. I mean, there are... Once they go underground, it feels very 80s. And the thing is, you know what? I enjoyed it far more. Do I have issues with it? I always have issues with movies. You know, but the story makes sense for what it is. I mean, it's not, does it have plot holes? Everything's got plot holes. But it's not as glaringly awful as I remember it. It actually holds up pretty well. Its weird effects make sense when you're watching it. They because they went so weird and they avoided CG. Because even fucking, I think Yoshi's a puppet, right?
Yeah, it's an animatronic. Yeah.
Yeah, it ends up looking way better than you imagine this movie to be, like a CG train wreck, and yet looks great. They have puppets, they have weird effects. I mean, the little amount of CG that they use isn't great, but I mean, fucking thing, it all the weird shit that they did does work. Bob Hoskins is the perfect casting for Mario. His Italian accent is spotty, but he grew the mustache. He's the right build. I have no idea how him and John Leguizamo are brothers. But honestly, John Leguizamo is so excited to be there that he works as Luigi. And I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. And I wouldn't dissuade anyone from watching this movie. I would just say, hey, don't go into it expecting a Super Mario Brothers movie. I'd say go into it expecting a weird 90s, alternate world sci-fi movie. Because that's the thing. If you forget the video game, and I think this is the biggest problem, is a lot of people sit there and they go, well, it's not Super Mario Brothers. Right. But if you establish that, and then walk away from it, and then just watch it as a movie, it is a weird, fun, 90s sci-fi schlocky movie that you can have a very good time watching. So yeah, Joe made me see the light on this one. I had a lot more fun than I thought I was gonna, and I mean, my biggest issue with this movie is that the guy who did the soundtrack for this is the same guy that did Predator. Half the soundtrack sounds like clown car music. The other half of it is the Predator soundtrack. And Joe was like, well, it sounds like it might be offcuts or this or that. That's fine. It's fucking Predator music. It sounds exactly like Predator. And it's a weird vibe for the movie because you're watching it and you're like, wait, a minute ago it was like da 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 da, and then suddenly we've got like this intense Predator music. Like, oh my god, is the Predator in Koopa Land? Holy shit! That fucked me up a little bit, and that'll come back to haunt us because one of the later movies we did has a very suspiciously familiar soundtrack as well. Mm-hmm. But no, I thought it was fun. I've had far more fun watching it this time than I had in the past, and I really do believe it's because I let go of the idea that it was a Super Mario Brothers movie. And I think that maybe that's the most important thing to learn to do, is that when we get these adaptations of anything, and what's terrible is you're steadily building an argument, whether you realize it or not, for me to watch the Altered Carbon television series. You are. Because it's the whole idea is that if you separate something from what it is supposedly adapting, and you just come to it as a work of art, as a work of media, how then do you react to it going in without presupposed notions? For me, the high watermark is Ghost in the Shell because there are so many different versions. Watching Standalone Complex with my son is really reminding me of how good that series is, and yet how radically different that series is from fucking all the other ones. And last show we were talking about how great the animes were. And it's like, yeah, they're all great in these very different ways. And if that's possible, then it's possible that this movie is really great as not a Super Mario Brothers movie. But I just think that the second you go in with that presupposed notion, I think the deck is already kind of stacked against you. And you're sitting there going, well, it's not really Mario. It's not Mario. And you said to me when we were watching this, and I agree with you, you said at least they tried to do something different. They didn't just make the cartoony version that everyone was kind of expecting it to be, which is what they did with the animated version, right? And I enjoy the animated version. I think it's very cute. But you are correct. It is very fucking safe. Whereas this was different and weird and functions independently of Super Mario Brothers as its own weird 90s entity. And I can appreciate that.
So my overall way of telling people whether they want to see this or not, if you never have, is I had this realization actually earlier today. Because I was thinking about this movie and you know, you're talking about this kind of tension between, is it a Super Mario Brothers movie really, or is it not one? You know, what is this thing? And it occurred to me that the easiest way to know, pretty much guaranteed, if you're going to like this movie and enjoy it or not, is, do you like David Lynch's Dune? Because if you are a Dune purist, the David Lynch film is an abomination. It's the number one complaint that a lot of people have, particularly about the ending, which makes no sense if you've read the book.
And you know what? Listen, I love the Dune books up to Children of Dune. And sure. I absolutely love his version of the movie.
And that's what this feels like. This feels like David Lynch and Salvador Dali started sketching out an idea for a Super Mario Brothers film, and then it was taken away from them after, you know, in storyboarding stage and given to somebody else who was more conventional but still a little bit weird, and they just made what the storyboards had without really necessarily paying attention. Now, of course, the extended edition might fix some of this because apparently there's a lot of character stuff in there that would be fascinating.
Well, Bob Hoskins
and you and I both noticed weird edits and weird cuts that sometimes were good and sometimes were bad. It was odd.
Yeah, but
so
Bob
clearly
Hoskins
this movie was chopped up.
That they were rewriting the script like on the go, and
yeah,
that they got to a point where they almost started to just ignore it because there were so many rewrites. So and listen, everyone in this movie, like, you've got some good actors in this fucking movie too. That's the other joke of it, is that this is a big budget B movie. I mean, Bob Hoskins is a great actor. John Leguizamo, as long as you got him in the right role, is a stand-up guy. Fucking what's her name? Samantha Mathis. I love Samantha Mathis. I've loved her since fucking Pump Up the Volume. Oh, by the way, remember when we saw her mother in the movie, and I was like, who's her mom? And we were like, it's got to be someone that we know. She looked familiar. You know why she looked familiar? Because it's fucking Samantha Mathis. They just got her to play her mother.
Oh, there you go.
But I mean, she's very good. Dennis Hopper is amazing, or a psychopath. You never know what you're going to get. And even the woman that's with him, the British actress who's with him, who she's always very good. She's always very funny. Like, and even you got fucking what's his name? Fisher Stevens. Yes. You got Fisher Stevens, and his his partner in this movie, who I never remember his name. He's one of those kind of
but you know,
actors.
you see him.
He's been in everything. Yeah, he's the guy that takes Ferris Bueller's car for a joyride while they're in the museum and stuff. So, yeah, I enjoy the hell out of it. It's but you said it's that tension. Yet for me, as long as I separate it, I'm not separating it and damning it. I'm just saying, hey, accept the fact that you've got Super Mario Brothers over here, and you've got this movie over here, and it is good for what it is as the thing. But if you're trying to identify it as derivative of this, then you're gonna have issues with it. And you are correct in the same way that if you can't get past the Dune books to enjoy an artist's reinterpretation, then you're not going to enjoy the previous movie either. I haven't seen the new ones yet; they're on my list.
Right.
So,
yeah. Like I said, at some point we'll be watching the extended edition, which is about 22 minutes longer. So it's
my God, they cut 22 minutes.
22 minutes about, so it's definitely it's not a small difference. Yeah.
When they cut that fucking much out, holy shit!
Right. Yeah. So again, that's the thing, is if you're looking for a pure Mario adaptation, no, it's not. I mean, it is, but it's not, because it's too weird for that. But if again, you like somebody doing a taking something and reinterpreting it while still keeping the core elements.
You know, one of my bigger problems with this movie?
Eh?
They wait too long to put them in the costumes.
Well, okay. I don't disagree, but I don't think that's a huge problem.
Oh,
I think it's something where you sit there and go, why do you do that?
It's not a huge problem. But when they get those costumes on, you and I both were like, why didn't they do this sooner?
The minute they got into the Mushroom Kingdom, they should have had their clothes shredded and they should have found those clothes.
Yeah.
That's it right there. Or whatever the dimension hopping warped their clothes to do that to them. Easy. So I don't disagree that once they put them on, you sit there and go, how were you not wearing these the whole thing? Because the costumes are great.
And honestly, it's a neat reinterpretation of the design.
Yes. It's a real world. Like, I like so much about the movie. That is the weirdest thing about it, is if you... once you start to understand that nothing that they're putting in there is inaccurate to the game. It's just so strangely
it's just the way they're
realized.
Doing it. Yeah.
Yes. You know, I don't... Actually, hold on. I didn't look that up. I don't know that Princess Daisy is a dinosaur. I don't think that's true. Was she actually a dinosaur? Hold on.
That I have no idea.
She may have been. Let me look. It doesn't really say what her origin is necessarily. And I know somebody's going to say that, yes, technically in the first game, Super Mario Land, she was Mario's rescue target, but that was only in the first game. They changed it later because they realized.
Well, listen, yeah, but it's not like he fucking, married and then fucked her at the end of the game.
That's true. I'm just saying. I know somebody's going to point that out, but
you know what? Listen, there is like so little story to some of these games.
Well, I don't disagree. I'm just kind of curious if there is any version of her that is dinosaur related, because that is the only part where I went, I don't remember her being a dinosaur, but it makes sense. It's fine.
Yeah, but King Koopa was a big fucking turtle dinosaur guy, and not a human. Or he was a dino human, whatever. That is
I mean, in the game, he is some kind of dinosaur-ish
he gets
monster.
devolved at the end. That's their big...
Oh, yeah, no, but Koopa makes sense to be a dinosaur. Like, that relates to the character in the game. Daisy, there's no indication she was, but there's also nothing that says she wasn't. So, it's ambiguous enough.
Yeah, and the thing is, I do like the new animated version they did of it. I think it's adorable. I watched it with my kids. Yeah. But is it groundbreaking? Does it try different things? Is it memorable beyond being a cartoon version of the movie, of the games? No, not really. It's not doing anything weird. Whereas you watch this movie and you remember it because it is fucking weird.
Right.
It's weird, and there's a high attention of detail to all this fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like... Yeah, there's a lot
it's not random.
No, there's a lot going on, and somebody was paying specific attention to those details.
Yeah. I mean, it is bizarrely faithful. Because it is. Like,
they don't do anything incorrect. They just do a lot of... They had a lot of fun with the fluffing. How about that?
Well, they take the strangest routes to the thing that is accurate. So, and that's the oddest part of it, is that you go there and you go, well, the Bob-ombs weren't little wind-up toys, but they kind of are. The Bullet Bill you see for 2 seconds, and he's usually much bigger. So there's all these little things where there's an odd... I called it Nolan's Super Mario Brothers at one point because they are trying to ground it somewhat. They're trying to have science in there.
Yeah.
Because, outside of the dimension hopping...
The whole thing you said about Dune, right, with Lynch.
Yeah.
If Lynch had been hard up...
This is Super Baroque Brothers.
No. If Lynch had been hard up for money, right, and decided to make a Super Mario Brothers movie, right, I'm not that unsure that it wouldn't have come out like this. I mean... No,
in fact, the whole thing where Koopa is a germaphobe felt very Lynchian to me.
Oh, yeah, he won't touch anybody, yeah.
I immediately thought of Frank, whatever the hell his name is in Blue Velvet.
Yeah, mommy,
I was like, okay.
mommy.
Yeah. He's like, germs, plumbers. Like, that's his mommy, is plumbers. Right? I mean, it does feel like he's sort of... So I agree. This does not seem that far. That's why I said Lynch and Dali.
And this is the thing,
because it's very colorful.
As a 90s schlock sci-fi movie, it is a fuck ton of fun in the end.
Yeah.
You just have to be able... You got to be able to get past that mindset of, well, it's a terrible adaptation of the game. You know what? You're right. It is kind of a terrible adaptation of the game. Why? Because they took the basic factual components and then they went off and interpreted it the way they want to. And that's what it is. You know, and if you can't get behind that, don't see it. But if you want to see somebody make an attempt at kind of running the world of Super Mario Brothers through their head filter, and also it's a husband and wife team. It's not even one head filter, it's fucking two head filters that were apparently fighting quite a bit. So you get this movie. I mean, Bob Hoskins was it stabbed, electrocuted, and almost drowned making this?
Yeah, almost drowned, yeah.
So
I would also say that if you're somebody, and I am one of these people, who feels like anything now that comes out that's got a big IP attached is going to guaranteed be very safe and won't take risks and whatever, and you wish you could see something a little off the beaten path,
okay,
this is that.
But this is why the 90s was such a great period of time, because
they gave
that's what I'm saying, is if you missed Batman to Tim fucking Burton.
Right.
And he made something amazing. They would never do that today.
No.
Never.
No. Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying is if you've gotten sick of the fact that if something comes out that's a big budget known name, that it's going to guaranteed be Disneyfied, and you have never watched this movie, you might like it better than you thought. It might be that at that time it flopped because there was none of this, and so people would have liked a more straightforward adaptation, and that probably would have done better. And if this movie were released today, you know, almost like that People's Joker movie.
Hey, listen. If you released this as an A24 movie today,
oh my God, it would do billions.
It would have a fucking following.
Oh yeah,
because the thing is, making it an A24 movie suddenly puts a different mindset on people. Oh, I mean, this is an art film adaptation of.
Wow, you know what this is? This is a veiled critique of climate change, because look at their world, it's ruined.
Yeah. No, and that's what I mean.
COVID turned him into a germaphobe. Holy shit.
The second you can reframe a movie, suddenly people go into it with different expectations.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate it, because sometimes there are these movies I go in and I have expectations of my own, and you make a good argument while we're watching it. Why it's not necessarily what I think it is. And this is one of those movies where it's just too weird and too much fun, and as long as you can get your head out of your ass, you just end up having a really good time.
Right.
So I don't necessarily know that I would tell everyone to see this. You kind of have to be willing. You have to be willing to open yourself up to the idea.
Yeah, and that's what I mean about the Lynch's Dune thing. If that movie is at least interesting to you, or very good because it's different, because the new Dune movies are very faithful, and I also find them very sterile and boring. Most people don't. So I understand that my way of watching movies is not everybody's. That's fine. But if you find that you kind of...
I still haven't seen them. I have to see them at some point.
You will probably enjoy them, and I don't say that as a negative.
Hey, listen.
What's his face makes good movies.
I never find my enjoyment to be a negative. Never.
Yeah, no. It is a very faithful adaptation with a artist who makes very Nolan-esque level quality visuals. But for me, and I've said this before, it has so little soul to it. It was so dead set on being accurate, because this is the other side of accuracy. It was so consumed with accuracy and representation of the source material that it went too far into saying, okay, you know, you can embellish things a little bit here and there, you know.
I think
that's just me.
I feel like because I saw some interviews with him. He was saying how he felt that the original was heavily embellished, and he wanted to make something that was closer to the actual books.
Yes,
like that was his plan, you know. So
look, he's right because the Dune movie is not Dune. The Lynch movie is not Dune. It is not. It is somebody reading this is an AI summary of Dune that got a couple things wrong. And then he just made a movie based on that incorrect summary, which ended with, and then it brought rain and everybody was happy, as opposed to killed all the worms. So I get it. I know why people who are real devotees, who are really enamored of the books and feel that they need to be accurately represented. I understand why they hate the Lynch movie, especially the ending. It is that thing I've said many times. If there's two ways. You can start awful or end awful. Better to start than end awful.
I think Frank Herbert would have enjoyed.
He did. He was on set. He liked what he was seeing.
Because the thing is, like, I think this is one of the things people forget about Frank Herbert. Frank Herbert wrote a lot of weird shit.
Yes.
You know, Dune was not his only book. It was the one that got popular, but he wrote a lot of other stuff, and his shit got weird. It got super weird. So, yeah. Here
it is. Why Frank Herbert endorsed David Lynch's Dune, the surprising praise behind a misunderstood film. Yeah, he did not hate it.
Good.
You know?
I'm glad.
He himself in an interview said, why wouldn't they improve on the visual sense? They have free license to do this. This is what film is all about, end quote.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying but I also understand, and this is not me saying that if you like the Villeneuve Dune, there's something wrong with you. I also understand people who, look, I'm like this about some things.
Never let Joe yuck on what you like. Joe likes what he likes. You like what you like. No. We are open to everybody enjoying the things.
I agree. There are pieces of artwork that I only want to consume the way that I think they should be consumed. That for me is correct. That for anybody else, not necessarily.
Well, yeah, because you're not an organized religion. You're not going to crucify people because they like the wrong Dune.
Boy, the hell am I not. So yes, if you are into that new version of Dune, hey, I've got great news for you. You got like 9 hours of it. So great. You've got more than enough.
You know,
I only have one Lynch's Dune, which makes me sad. I wish I had 3.
Oh my God! I can imagine what he would have done.
God Emperor? Could you imagine the worm?
No. I stop at Children of Dune. Honestly, for me, for me.
But Lynch wouldn't have done the book. You see what I'm saying? He would have gone crazy.
Yeah, no, but for me, okay. So here's an interesting kind of Dune argument, right? So. I think in a weird way that the first Dune, that Lynch's Dune is more authentic to the books. And the reason I say that is because, to me, the core relationship of that book is Paul and Chani. And Chani believes in him, and Chani supports him. And she is behind him to do the things. Because she is a warrior. She's not a fucking like damsel in any way, shape, or form in the books, right? And in the second book, when she dies in childbirth, I'm pretty sure, and Paul is blinded. He can still see because of his abilities, but he's blinded, right? That's it. That's it for Paul. Paul's done. And that's the reason that he fucking walks off into the desert. The tradition of the Fremen is that if you are blinded, you walk off into the desert. And at one point someone says to him, they're like, yeah, but you can see. And he's like, yeah, but I but by the rules, he's like, I can't. I like that. That's one of the parts I remember getting to the end of that book and thinking to myself that it felt like something I would have done. And when I watch the Lynch Dune, right, I feel like Paul and Chani have that relationship. She is a warrior, and she loves him, and if they made a second movie where she passed away, that that Paul, Kyle MacLachlan, blinded, the last shot of him would be walking off into the desert because he was shattered. And the fact that the new version, they made this one little change where suddenly Chani disagrees with him, Chani doesn't support him, Chani feels like he's making the wrong, like, it's not as faithful an adaptation as you think when something so crucial gets shifted. So does it look like the sure, it looks like the books and that, but if you change that one little detail about Chani, then in the second movie it makes, it's the whole trajectory thing, right? You change one little thing here, but as it goes further down the timeline, the trajectory widens out. So because you made this one little change, by the time you get to the end of the second movie, it's like, okay, well, this is, which is the third movie with the way they've done it. This has just gone further and further away. So I'd love to know how they're going to do that. I'd love to know how they're going to handle that she dies, and that's it for him. I'm sure that they can write it back, and yet it feels like they've wandered off. And that, to me personally, was a core element of the story.
No, I actually very much agree with you, because one of the things that I thought about was that in some ways, and this is not a one-to-one by any stretch, but in some ways I feel like Lost Highway is the demonstration that Lynch can do Dune, because that movie is very much about two sides of a person. This good side and this terrible side. And that's where I think he would be willing to show Paul at his absolute, the fall with no softening, which is what it feels like the disagreement is. That's a softening, because it's like, well, people aren't going to accept this. And Lynch did not have much of a metric of bullshitting people like that. He's like, no, this is how it is. This is where the rules are, and even though it may suck and you may not be happy with it, this is where we're going. And that would have been, as you said, if it had been made, I think he would have stuck with, no, she's dead, and that's it. And that's what happens. And he's gone. And
it breaks him, yeah.
As it should. But that's what Lynch was very good at, that many others are. The light and dark part, he was willing to explore both fully. And many others don't want to do that.
And if you read the books, my suggestion, stop there.
Oh, yeah, I honestly tell people, don't go past Messiah. Just stop right there. I think that Dune and Dune Messiah are one story, and that's all I ever read.
Because Dune Messiah is the second book. Yeah, the two books.
Yes.
You read those first two books, they are a fantastic pair.
Yeah, I really do feel like it should just be released as one unending novel.
Well, you know what it is? I feel like there's a little bit of space between the two. I do feel like it's the whole idea that you're not supposed to pick Dune Messiah up as soon as you finish Dune. You're supposed to finish Dune, walk away, take some time, let it roll over you, then come back to the world.
Which is fascinating, because I prefer to bulldoze right through it. Well, I find it works best to just plow right to the goddamn end.
I also don't binge watch anything.
Well, I don't binge read books. I'm not that fast a reader.
No, so. I know, but my kids get annoyed.
Dude's too big.
Because I sit there and go, we're going to watch one episode a week. And they're like, but why? The whole thing's out. I'm like, yeah, so it'll be there. Don't worry. I'm trying to teach them some level of patience, where it's like, yeah, you know what? You don't need to binge watch it. You don't need to eat all the chips in the bag at once. Have a few now, have a few later. You'll enjoy it more. Give your brain some time. Have some fucking anticipation. Learn some patience. We don't need to blow through these things.
Sure.
So, yes, but I think, and I say this loving Frank Herbert. I do. I love his writing. He's fantastic. He has written some of the weirdest fucking books. And the later... And maybe that's the problem, is the later Dune books just get so fucking weird.
Yeah.
And they stray away from how powerful the first two are. because he just gets into his weird. And the thing is, I like his weird, but I feel like in this case, it does weaken the first 2 books.
No, I made it almost halfway through the third one, and I went, you know what? I don't need this. And I just stopped, and I've never tried to read them.
Yeah.
I just have seen images of the merged worm and his son. I'm like, that would be a great visual. Like, I'm in for the visuals, but I don't need to read the book.
Read the first 2, and then, you know what? Go read Frank Herbert's many other books that nobody fucking reads.
Yeah.
Like the Jesus Incident and the White Plague. I mean, the White
Plague's great.
Is one of the more powerful books I've ever read.
Yep.
And no one's fucking heard of it anymore.
Right. I agree.
So, yeah, that's a movie. That's a movie Lynch should make. Could you imagine that? There's very few directors I actually want to touch that book. But
yeah, you got to do that one just right.
Yeah.
Just right.
So yeah, we watched Super Mario Brothers.
And we followed up Super Mario Brothers with a movie from the following year titled, that I actually did review this back in 2018, but I don't remember what I thought of it at the time. I'm sure I didn't hate it. But we watched 1994's Death Machine. And the reason I wanted to rewatch it is because I think when I reviewed it in 2018, I hadn't watched Blade really close to it, but I've watched Blade recently, and I was kind of, because this is Stephen Norrington's first, this was a movie that got him Blade. So there was a producer, I think, who watched this and was like, okay, we're developing this movie called Blade. We'd like you to work on it, which is fascinating. But this is Stephen Norrington's kind of, I want to call this Stephen Norrington's Hardware. I don't know what else I would call it. Okay. Because it is literally about a killer machine, but in a weird future.
This movie did not cost a lot to make.
£500,000. Yeah. So about $1 million, I would say. Whatever the conversion rate is.
It didn't cost a lot to make. They were very clever with their special effects. Is it a perfect movie? No. It is fun 90s sci-fi schlock. Fun, more fun than Super Mario Brothers, as far as I'm concerned. Everyone in this movie is acting about 150%.
Also, there are some notable first film credits on this one.
Oh, yeah. Rachel Weisz is in there
Dick
for like
Brake and Rachel Weisz brushing by for a second.
So Dick Brake, for those who don't know who Dick Brake is, if you watch the Ben Burr episode of Mandalorian, and they go into the base, the second episode he did, where they go into the base and they meet that horrible fucking like lieutenant or something like that, who starts going on about what people really want is order out of the chaos, and then Bill Burr shoots him in the face. That's Dick Brake. Mm-hmm. Dick Brake pops up in all... Yeah, he pops up in all kinds of shit. He shot I almost call it Harry Potter. He shot Batman's parents. God, what a different movie that would be if Harry Potter was Bruce Wayne. Anyway, he shot Bruce Wayne's parents in Batman Begins. He was in the Dune movie with The Rock. And he regularly just pops up in all these kind of bit roles. You'll know, once you know him, because he's got this like real skinny kind of he's very gaunt, and he has this very strong accent, and he can go from like sniveling to snarling at like the drop of a hat. It's amazing. I have a lot of respect for Dick Brake. He pops up in a lot of stuff. He's a good working actor. He's kind of made who he is work. And his name is Dick Brake. I mean, his name is Richard Brake, but at the end of the day, it's Dick Brake. I mean, if that's not what they called him in school, I don't know what the hell they called him. So yeah, Dick Brake's in this, and then was it Rachel Weisz has a brief cameo with an eyebrow piercing? I don't wonder if they gave that to her or if that was her own thing. And then other than that, Brad Dourif is basically just playing the Joker. I mean, is he not?
Oh yeah. I mean, this is interestingly, this is predating a lot of what I feel like this Joker. You if this movie was made now, you'd say, oh, he's imitating a bunch of other Jokers.
It came
that
out
come
before the Tim Burton Batman.
No. Tim Burton was 89. This is 94.
Oh, so it is after. Okay.
And that Joker is not this. Jack Nicholson is not doing. This
is more the Heath Ledger Joker, with all the guns
or even
and
Jared
the knives,
Leto, really.
You know, and like the whole he's just nuts. He's nuts in this.
Well, what they did, I'll tell you exactly what they did. They told Brad Dourif to act like a whiny teenage boy who just wants to bang the CEO of this company. That's what they told him, and he did it because Brad Dourif's a lunatic, and that's, I mean,
he's like, oh,
that's what it is. So, you know, and he's very entertaining as this moody teenager that's in the body of a 40-year-old something man.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had said that his brain had been transfused, I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. So, the machine itself, the death machine, because this is about a mad inventor at a company called Chank, which is a great company name, CHAANK, which is basically the sound effect in a Walt Simonson comic when Thor's hammer hits something metal. Chank. You see it in big, bold letters going across the bottom of the page. But at Chank, this inventor has made this secret project in Vault 10, which kept making me think of Fallout. He's like, what's in Vault 10? What's in Vault 10? You know, it's like, and it is a literal death machine. It's this big, chomp faced looking thing.
It's a Mauser from fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It is. It's a giant Mauser.
It's a giant Terminator Mauser.
So yeah, it is wildly fun and stupid. I mean, it is.
Oh my god!
But it also has.
And when he puts on, like, at one point towards the middle of the movie, they find the RoboCop suit, and he just comes out. I was going to say, yeah. Oh, and when he puts that thing on, and you're like, okay, this movie just found a way to get even goddamn weirder.
Yeah.
They fucking they offload his personality so he can be this like super soldier. I mean,
it's so bad. It's so bad.
They had such sci-fi fun with the story. The thing is, like, sometimes a movie takes itself so seriously that you watch it and you're like, oh, fuck you guys. But then sometimes a movie is it's derivative, it's having fun, it's doing weird shit, and it's like, hey, are you not amused? Are you not amused? Right. And you are amused with this movie. You know, and it's very simple. They're stuck in the building. The robot's out to kill them. They have to survive. They need to get out. They need to contact somebody. They don't necessarily have weapons. There's some really good action sequences. People don't die who probably should die from the wounds that they got earlier in the movie, but this is not that kind of movie. And you end up actually rooting for characters that within the first 5 minutes of the movie, you're like, who is this loss? And then you're like, oh no, they killed that guy. That guy was the best. You know?
Right.
So, yes, I enjoyed the shit out of Death Machine. Death Machine is, like, to me, Death Machine is the perfect late night 90s schlocky sci-fi movie that I watched so many times. I've seen Death Machine before. I only recognized it because it was funny because you were like, "Have you seen this?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And then we were watching it, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have seen this." I didn't remember all the details, but I remembered they were trapped in a building with this fucking robot and all this shit. And then like I knew that at some point the guy put the suit on. Like I knew the vagueness of it, you know. And like, yeah, it's if you want the vibe of the '90s late night sci-fi B movies, this is it. This is the best version of it as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Right? You can find movies that cost more money and suck, and you can find movies that cost less money and suck. But this movie, for the amount of money they spent on it, I think this movie was a B-movie success. So, I stand with Death Machine.
No, and when I say dumb, I'm saying that in the best way possible. It's like, okay, you just sit back and enjoy this thing. Which for me is mostly the robot and Brad Dourif, which I think are always when you have a big clanky machine, that is clearly real, and is barely functional, which at times you can tell that thing is barely moving.
They're really
But I
clever
love
how
the
they
head
filmed
spinning. Oh yeah, no, it's and there's some great gore scenes. That the guy with the painted X on his head, that's his hair, is great.
Yeah.
There's all these little things that make it, this is a sci-fi future. It is a
Didn't we say
delightful.
this is the same future as Highlander 2?
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. There's a sun shield, right? I mean, there has to be. Yes, that's what I mean. This is a much in a good comparison. Yeah, it may be the same future as Highlander 2, but this is a far superior movie.
Yeah.
Outside of the Sean Connery thing, this is a much better movie to watch.
Listen, if Sean Connery were not in Highlander 2, that movie would not be great.
I agree. No, and Virginia Madsen, but that's more of just superficial.
That's more you than
but
me,
yes,
yeah.
The Sean Connery, well, let's put it this way. She don't hurt. The Sean Connery thing, though, is the reason. You tell people, go watch his death speech.
She doesn't hurt. No, that is true.
Right, she don't hurt it. But yes, this is a more entertaining beginning to end movie. It rips off Aliens at points in the music.
Well, no. Everybody ripped off Aliens because the other movie we're going to talk about also ripped off Aliens.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff in this movie that when you're watching it, you're like, oh, didn't they do that in Aliens? Like, we started quoting scenes from Aliens that,
true.
were basically kind of in this movie. Like, it is. It's a derivative movie.
But when I say rips off Aliens, they even do that. They do a reverse elevator scene where the robot is playing the alien queen.
Yeah,
it's so on the nose.
The Ripper robot is the xenomorph queen.
Oh my God! It is so clearly modeled after that. Like,
even when they run and they get out of the building and the elevator's not there,
yes,
and you're like,
that's what I'm
Bishop,
saying.
Where's Bishop?
you bastard! You're just waiting for it. No, it really is. That's what it is, and that's part of the delight of it. It's less overt than the Italian films like Shocking Dark, which is clearly just literally cop Xeroxing it. Yeah. But they know what they're doing. Like, let's not pretend that there isn't a little bit of Italian flavor in this movie, because if they didn't know they were doing the Aliens elevator scene, they obviously did.
There is a British flavor in this. It's really what it is.
Yeah, it's Britalian. So yes, there's a lot. But yeah, it is a delightful film. It is very easy to be entertained by. There's a lot of over-the-top performances. The machine itself is great. The future they're in, I love the design of that stuff.
And there are some genuine moments in this movie where you go, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" Because there's a reveal later on about a what do you call it, a blend? What do you call the blender? The trash blender in the sink. What do they call that thing?
Oh! You're talking about a trash compactor or whatever you call it. Garbage disposal. Garbage disposal.
There is a late reveal in this movie about a garbage disposal.
What some people might call an incinerator.
Yeah, exactly. I had an incinerator at one point. Yeah, and when you hear it, when it pops up, you will go, "Oh God!" We knew where they were going with it, and we were
you're seeing it at times, and you don't know what the hell it is because it's very abstract.
And then when they reveal it to you, you're like,
"Oh my God, this is
God,
okay,
it's terrible." Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
So,
no, it genuinely does. It's a perfect '90s sci-fi film, in that it's got just enough that it's not completely forgettable. There's good people in it. There's a nice big literal death machine in it. It's just a lot of fun. So, it's an easy recommendation if you like science fiction films that don't necessarily ask you to stretch your brain too much. You'll just have a fun time with it. Nothing wrong with that. That is absolutely not a criticism. That is every bit as good as a movie that challenges you to have to, think and not this one. This one, sit back and watch the machine tear motherfuckers up.
And honestly, this movie is a really great comparison up against the movie we're going to talk about in a second, because it was very cheap and is fantastic to watch. Whereas this other one is way more expensive and fucking terrible.
Well, okay. Well, let's get into it. So we followed this.
Yeah.
With
so watch Death Machine. Death Machine is totally worth watching.
We always do our summary of all of them at the end. We'll get to that part. So we followed. Hold on a minute. Let me look at something. Am I? Oh no. Okay, we're not at 2 hours yet. I thought we were. Okay, I'll keep an eye on it though. We followed this movie with 1999's Virus. Now, a little bit of backstory on why I wanted to watch this movie. So this was a comic book. So this started off as I believe, a movie pitch that was then picked up by Dark Horse Comics.
A trailer. It was supposed to be a sequel to It, right?
Yeah. And then it got kind of morphed.
They couldn't get the rights.
That was the rough idea. And they couldn't get the rights, so they changed it to avoid copyright. And then it got picked up by Dark Horse, who made I believe, a 4-issue limited series that did very well. And I sort of remember the cover for one of them. I sort of remember seeing it. But I don't think I ever read it. Now I want to read it. But it was it sold very well. And so based on that, they then decided to make a movie adaptation. And the movie adaptation is relatively the same. They've changed some things here and there. Instead of a Chinese boat, it's Russian. Like, there's small alterations. But in essence, it's the same idea.
Oh, my God. The cover for this.
With the bug,
this is the
right?
same guy that did fucking Aliens, Dark Horse.
Yeah. Yes.
It's the same guy who did the covers.
But I remember seeing that you're looking at the dragonfly or whatever bug cover, right?
No, I'm looking at the woman running from the giant animal beast in the water. I'll show it to you.
Oh, no. The Virus comic cover I remember is the one of the bug on a white background.
There you go. So, that's the collected edition.
Oh, yeah, no. I remember the original comic, not the collected one.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, no. I'll show you the one I'm thinking of, which I remember seeing this in the stores. But again, I never read it. I just remember seeing it. And I was like, ooh, that's cool looking. So that is the cover of issue number 1.
Yeah, with the organic fly with the
Yeah. That thing. I remember looking at it and meaning to read it. Never did. But in any event, now I probably will. Did very well. Sold very well. People liked it. So that got interest in it to adapt it into a movie, which they did. Now, as far as the movie, from what I understand, is relatively faithful to the comic. But the movie has a very, very clear bisection problem, which is the machine elements are spectacular. All the special effects are off the charts great.
And real world based.
Yes. I mean, very, very physical, very gruesome and disturbing and interesting and well done. And then the people show up. And the people, except for Jamie Lee Curtis, who is trying, she has called this, much like Bob Hoskins,
she said this
the
is the
worst film she's ever done.
She said that.
Yes. She's fine in it, so I have no problem with her.
No. Listen, this movie is an incredible exercise in what makes a train wreck. Because on paper, I think you said to me at one point, this movie has a fantastic pedigree.
Yeah.
Donald Sutherland is a good actor. What's her name? Jamie Lee Curtis can be a very good actor. Yeah. Even William Baldwin can do decent movies. I mean, he did Sliver, which is not a bad movie. I kind of enjoy it. He is not the worst Baldwin you can have in this. Plus, he's not the lead, right? This is a very much ensemble cast. The other people in this movie, this is some of their first, but like Clifton Curtis, I think. That guy has gone on to be in all kinds of shit, right?
Yeah, I would say that Baldwin and Curtis are the best people in it. They're doing good work.
Well, because here's the thing. So you have these decent actors. The guy who's directing used to be the special effects guy for Cameron, right? He knows special effects, and the special effects look great, right? That's not a problem. But then you start getting into, like, the bushes, getting to the nitty-gritty. Donald Sutherland is doing an Irish accent that he can't do. And you sit there and go, what the hell is he doing? Like, this has got to be one of the worst performances I've seen him do. And you know how you were like, the special effects are great. The special effects are great up until the moment that an actor goes, you know what? I don't really want to do this. So Donald Sutherland apparently only wanted to be in the makeup, the robot makeup, once. So they have this big reveal where he shows up and he's like, ah! And then he dies within like 3 minutes. And you're like, wait, wasn't he going to be a bigger problem? Like, there's this big reveal, and then he's gone. And it's like, yeah, because one day of special effects filming really adds up to like a few minutes on screen. I mean, the makeup took 6 hours to get on him. So that creates kind of weirdness. And then a lot of the secondary actors are not great. And the movie just starts to get weirdly kind of clunky. And then, like, it just gets disjointed. And then you're watching it going, what's going on here? And the special effects are very enjoyable to see. And I can see how this was a really... I can see how this is a really popular comic because the components are there. They just didn't do a good job of it. And, like, it's one of those things where, like, I have racked my brain after seeing this, trying to figure out where it went ludicrously wrong. And I think it's just death by 1,000 cuts. There's so many little things that were just bad. There was a bad pacing, bad dialogue at times. A lot of these actors are kind of either phoning it in or can't act. The special effects are great, but you know what? The guy who directed it, was good at special effects, so that was an area that he had command of. Whereas if Cameron had done this, Cameron would have been beating the performances out of these people. I feel that because this was a first-time director, I think that Donald Sutherland was like, I'm doing this once, dude. You're a first-time director. Whereas if it had been any other director with a name, Cameron would have been like... Cameron is well known for forcing actors to do fucked up shit that they don't feel like doing. I think it was Kate Winslet that said that James Cameron almost killed her several times when they were making one of the recent Avatar movies, right? And even Sigourney Weaver basically said that James Cameron gets her to do all this shit, and she's like, why am I doing this? Like, shit's dangerous. And he's like, come on, it'll look great in the movie, right? If Donald Sutherland had been like, I'm only wearing the makeup once, I have a feeling Cameron would have fucking smacked his ass. But because it's a first-time director, I wonder if there was so much pushback. So what you end up with is a bad B-movie version of this comic that looks great, high budget, has a few faces you recognize, and yet is a bad 90s B-movie with a budget of what should have been, you know, a big release, and wasn't. And no one's happy with it. Anything you read about this movie, it's a train wreck. Nobody's happy with how it came out. You know, so, I mean, do you feel differently about this flick?
Well, wouldn't say I feel differently. I think it's a little. I think my read on it is slightly different than yours. I'm not a big fan of James Cameron's approach to filmmaking. I don't care how good the product is. I don't think abusing people is worth art. I just don't. So James Cameron to me is just an asshole.
But I'm not saying that it's good that James Cameron abuses people. I'm saying that because this was a first-time director, it was more than likely that he could not basically tell a
very
veteran
possible
actor,
that there was a unbalanced power dynamic, and that Donald Sutherland's makeup is the least of the problems in this movie.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
But but the briefness of that character is part of the bigger clunk of it.
There's a number of problems that are directly tied into the director, but I think the primary one is it's not a very well filmed movie in that the movie doesn't. It looks very bland, except for the special effects. There's very little personality to it, whereas somebody like Cameron understands how to do a lot of good lighting. Even somebody, Stephen Norrington probably would have done a lot with this because of the budget.
Well, that's my point. Like watching Death Machine and then watching this, you're like, Jesus Christ, guys.
That's where even if you didn't change anything about the acting, if the movie looked a lot better, you'd forgive a lot more. But the problem is that again, you get this opening, and it's fine. The Russian woman is not a particularly good actress, at least in this role. And she's the exposition newt of the movie.
She is the newt.
So, again, a lot of aliens borrowing.
And they listen. There is a lot of aliens music in this. Yeah, early on when they first get there and they're trying to figure out what's going on, a lot of aliens.
Yes,
this movie,
and that's fine.
This movie feels very much like somebody watched Alien and Predator, not Predator, Aliens and Terminator, and we're like, hey, let's make that. Let's make Alien Terminator, because that's what it feels like.
It does, but it doesn't. But again, I think there's. How long was this movie? Was this movie an hour 40? I want to say something like that. If I remember, it wasn't quite 2 hours.
An hour and 37 minutes, I think, or something like that.
Okay, so really,
hour and 39, but like 10 minutes were credits.
Okay, yeah, as all modern movies are. So let's say an hour 30 was the actual movie. To me, you spend the first half establishing your characters and setting up the scene, right? So opening with the Russian crew, this thing happens, the crew gets infected, something happens. Now we cut to Donald Sutherland on the USS Drunken Salvage Boat, right? He's doing this. And the other problem with Donald Sutherland has nothing to do with the actor, nothing to do with the direction. The problem is he's written terribly. He's a very bad character because he is so monstrous that you would have to believe that everybody else on the boat would have gotten together.
Why isn't everybody here? They would have thrown him overboard at some point.
That's it. They would have shot him with his gun in his sleep and thrown his body overboard and said there was an accident and then done the rest of the thing themselves. Right? Because if you're going to do a character like this, they have to be so essential to stop people from killing them immediately. And the problem is he's not. If he was the only person who had the unlock code to the boat and they're in the middle of the Atlantic and there's a storm, and if he doesn't have his hand on the wheel, the boat stops moving because it's keyed to his heartbeat, okay, now you can get away with this character, right? That's the only way you do it is you have to make this type of monster.
Yeah, but he's a huge bitch.
Exactly. And that's the problem here is he is too monstrous for his lack of necessity and essential nature to the plot. So this guy would have been offed.
And then at one point, he abandons them because he thinks he can negotiate with the aliens because he actually thinks he'll come out ahead. And you're like, okay, this just comes. I mean, in the right hands, it might come off as see how crazy this fucker is, but in the movie, it just feels so ham-handed the way they handle it.
Right? Yeah, you have to do what you do with this character. And look, I'm no kind of writer, but I'm just saying this is how you do it to make us not feel like something stupid, is this character either, like I said, has to be so essential that you understand why people tolerate him. That's one thing. And then when he gets to the point where he's negotiating with this alien entity, the only way you don't want him instantly decapitated and burned from the feet up is if he's a sympathetic character that's trying to save them through negotiation, which they've done in movies.
But he's not written like that from the start. He's just written.
No, he's pointing guns at people in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
like I'll shoot you.
Don't go down there. I'll shoot you with my gun.
Right.
And you're like,
yeah, and that's why as soon as that guy either passes out from being drunk, which he clearly is supposed to be, or goes to sleep, he's dead. He's dead, and his ass is being chewed by sharks in the middle of nowhere. So that's the biggest problem with that and it's compounded by that accent, which is his so weird misguided.
His weird Irish accent that comes and goes throughout the movie.
And when it comes, it's bad, and when it goes, it's noticeable because he's just talking like Donald Sutherland again. You're like, why don't you just talk like this the whole movie?
Yeah, and that's the thing is Donald Sutherland can act. It's like, what the fuck happened?
Yes. Donald Sutherland is a storied, well-respected actor who's did a lot of movies. This is not an unknown quantity or a notoriously awful B-movie actor who people like a Ron Jeremy that gets cast for kicks.
On paper, this movie should have fucking worked.
Right.
Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Sutherland, even William Baldwin, a guy who almost did the special effects for fucking Titanic.
Right.
Worked with Cameron extensively. Yeah, worked with Cameron extensively. It was produced by the woman who usually produces Cameron's movies. Like, everything feels like the components were there. Also, it is an interesting story. It's one where, okay, this alien thing infects this boat, which is a cool-looking boat with all these giant satellite things. Like, it's a neat-looking set piece, too, like the set itself. Right?
They come up to it. It's in the fog. Like, that's kind of good. They get on board.
And they're in the eye of a hurricane, so they know they've only got so much time.
Yes, so there's like a time
components, everything sounds like it should work.
Yes. And so, again, it's a good idea.
And yet you have, on top of that, it was a tremendous flop.
Well, that's understandable because, I mean, all the problem is you can't get past I think for most people, even with a science fiction movie, right? One of the reasons Death Machines is fun is because, the little eccentricities and variations in acting are small and cute and really don't impact the main story. You still have the fun of Brad Dourif and Dick Brake and whatever that woman's name is. Like, they're all doing, they're trying. Whereas Donald Sutherland doesn't seem to be trying.
No,
his accent's awful.
It's terrible.
Yeah, his character is just so mustache twirling bad that you instantly want him dead. And that's another problem is, like Paul Reiser in Aliens, because it's a good comparison point. Burke starts off and seems like maybe he's not a bad corporate guy.
No, there's an arc. There's an arc to that character. Starts out like he seems like he might be a good guy, then ends up a shit.
You just figure out that at a certain point that his ultimate care, which is to get this organism, is what's driving everything. So he's just playing the nice guy. So he's getting Ripley on board with things and just trying to find out where this thing is. And then when the shit hits the fan, he's just trying to save his own ass, and he turns around and faces an alien that kills him. But up until the point where he turns the monitor off, and before I forget,
200 hours later.
Right, up until he turns that TV off. The thing that's great about the Burke character is you almost can excuse some of it. You can go, okay, he's just being overzealous, right? Because so far he hasn't done something that crosses the line. Right, and then he turns the TV off, and at that point, you're just waiting for him to die. But that's well into the film. Whereas Donald Sutherland's drunken, non-Irish Irishman pulls a gun.
The arc with him should have been started as a shitbag, ended as a sacrificial hero.
Well, I slightly disagree.
He starts off as a shitbag and ends as a worse shitbag.
No, I think, without having to alter much about what's there, I think what you start him off as is drunken, incompetent. So you don't make him a scumbag. You make him where he's so desperate, because he says the thing about the cargo that they're hauling, if he loses it, he loses the boat, right?
Yeah.
So if they played it as desperation and not pulling a gun, then you would have been somewhat sympathetic. And then what you do is, the moment that he turns to the machine and says, look, honestly, I just need to get out of here. Fuck those people. That's the turning off the TV moment. That's when you go, oh no. No, we thought this was a guy who was just desperate and was lost in the bottle, but now he's shown that he has no moral center and he has to die. But that's into the movie. Whereas in this, he starts off and you just hate him. You just hate him. Yeah. And so, again, as soon as they get on that boat, number one, I would have thrown him right overboard before they ever got on the boat, but at that point, you just get rid of him. Like, he's just accidentally falls down a flight of stairs or whatever. And no one would have cared. Because, I'm pretty sure that somebody else could fit. Look, I don't know a lot about boats.
You know what?
I don't.
The problem is that he's with people who do seem to have a moral compass.
That, and what I'm saying is,
go ahead.
He's not irreplaceable. Meaning that if I'm on a boat, right, I know enough to know how a compass works. I understand what a throttle looks like and a wheel.
Jamie Lee Curtis's character could have got them out of there.
That's what I'm saying they didn't make him irreplaceable.
Let's
have him go from zero to fuckface that quickly and be very replaceable is the first major misstep, and it just does not get any better.
One of the things I did like in this movie, however, is that there is a black guy who early on is very excited about guns and ammunitions and bombs and technology. And he's like really excited. And I kept saying to you, this guy's dead. This guy's dead. This guy's dead. And at one point, he's like, I don't know what the fuck you people do. And he's like, I'm going to get out of here and do my own fucking shit. And he runs away.
And if you remember, I said he might be Cooper from Event Horizon, where he's going to make it to the end.
Yeah. And I said, oh yeah, this guy's dead. This guy's dead. And then
But
what's funny is that
they killed the Cuban first.
Oh, they did. The Cuban died first in this movie. The black guy gets all the way to the end, and the only reason that the two hero characters live is because the black guy figures out this whole solution to blow up the boat and escape, right? And the only reason he dies is because he has a moral compass and he goes back to help them. That's it. If he had just stuck to his plan, he would have blown the ship up, killed the thing, and gotten away. And that's what I mean, that the other characters have a moral compass. That is their problem. You know what I mean? Like, they couldn't just kill Donald Sutherland's character because it was wrong.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I like that character.
Also,
I thought he was fun. He was refreshing. I was genuinely bummed that he didn't make it.
No, I liked everybody else character-wise was good.
But here's the thing. Even Jamie Lee Curtis and William Baldwin, here's the funny thing about them that is screwy, I realized. Other than the fact that they're William Baldwin and Jamie Lee Curtis, there's no actual character to them. Like, can you really tell me one discernible, fascinating detail about either of those characters?
No.
I mean, the black guy whose name I can't remember, he was excited about technology. He was an ex-military guy, right? Like, there's things about him I remember. Donald Sutherland had a terrible Irish accent, drunk, right?
Yeah. Broke.
Was it like I can actually give you details. A lot of the one guy that was basically what do you call it?
Samoan.
A New Zealand. No, he was a
Maori.
He was a New Zealand stereotype. That's what he was. But even
I was going to say they basically gave him tattoos and big jewelry, and were like, Kiwi.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Then you get to William Baldwin and Jamie Lee Curtis, and you're like, generic white girl, generic competent white girl, a generic competent white guy. That's it. There's nothing about them. Like, there's no discernible character features. There was, like, no interesting tweaks. At no point was William Baldwin like, hey, I really dig Russian girls. Like, nothing. There was no character to them. They were generic hero character.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, so
I don't think that's. I mean, you're right.
One of many problems. It's one of many problems.
No, I actually don't think it's a problem if you fix other problems. I don't think you need character depth for this type of movie if you do other things correctly. The problem is, they did none of it right.
I disagree with you, because the thing is, we've already cited James Cameron. Aliens. Why does Aliens work? Yeah. Aliens works because James Cameron tries as quickly as he can. And the thing is, I studied this recently because my book that I'm working on is very much kind of most of the people die at the end. So I have so much territory, excuse me, that I have to make you know them and like them so that when everyone starts dying, you go, oh, fuck. Aliens does that. He builds people up to such an extent that you and I are still quoting Apone. And Apone dies, what, like 20 minutes into the movie? Like, is he even in that movie? He's gone on the first strike. And yet he has at least 4 quotable lines. Right? Keep it tight, people, keep it tight. Look into my eye. What was the other one?
Assholes and elbows.
Assholes and elbows, right. Dies, like I said, at most the 30-minute mark on that movie. But you remember him. In fact, you remember most of that team for various different reasons. There's a few characters, there's just a few vague characters in there who even they have kind of interesting lines. Whereas this movie, Jamie Lee Curtis is not Ripley. She needed to be Ripley. And William Baldwin is not Hicks. And he needed to be Hicks. If the two of them were that good, you would have ignored a lot of other things to follow them. But for whatever reason, the way this script is written, they're forgettable. They're forgettable, and you feel bad for the some of the supporting characters that died that you remember. Because other than that guy being Cuban, Is there anything else about him we remember?
Well, and this is where I guess I disagree a little bit. I don't think you need those characters to have much to them at all if the movie is otherwise well done. Because what they did try to do with Baldwin and the Cuban guy was they were clearly patterning them off Yaphet Kotto and Harry Dean Stanton in the first Alien movie. That was very clear to me in their dialogue. They were the engineers who thought they were, the person in charge was a moron, but they just needed to get paid. Like, that's what the dialogue was right there. I got that immediately. Okay, those are the engineers. Got it. And then Jamie Lee Curtis is the second in command who is clearly allowing this. See, the drunken guy just destroys it all because she's clearly able to run the boat and nobody dislikes her. If they'd made her his daughter, then it would have been okay, or something to explain again
honestly,
why.
Then you would have had some interesting dynamics there, where she's like,
yes,
he's a shit, but he's her dad,
Right. The New Zealand guy is New Zealand guy. Okay, fine. They're using just the idea of a New Zealander who I guess is there. I thought they were trying to base him to be the my name is Ishmael of the thing. That's what it felt like. They were doing an Ishmael thing with him. But on sight alone, without any characterization. Just look at him. He's got tattoos on his face. He clearly lives for the sea. Got it. All right, fine. And then Richie's great because he loves technology. So that's the one they gave all the character to, which works. So, again, that's all fine if the movie is beautifully filmed and is properly weighted in building up and revealing the creatures. You would forget about the lack of character because you'd be so focused on that. But because the only really impeccable thing in the whole movie is the special effects, and they really only make up maybe 20 minutes of the movie, if that.
Yeah, and to be honest,
all the flaws become, you can't ignore them. It just becomes overwhelming.
When those big-ass fucking mech creatures start running after them in the ship, it is genuinely scary. Like, those things are frightening. That's where what they should have done, me as the backseat director is saying, all right, your first 40 or so minutes is you do the intro is fine with the Russian boat. That's fine. That's perfectly just as long as it needed to be to show something happened. Cut to the modern day. Got it, or whatever. All right, boat characters. Fine, they're copy cardboard nonsense, but they get to that boat, and then we see the little spider things, the runaway robots, as we call them. Oh my god, they look just like the runaway ones, yeah. Right, so you start out small, and you keep showing slightly bigger things, and they kind of do it, but they don't do it in a very gradual way. Like, they jump a lot with it. So those little things never actually do anything. They just kind of run around the corner when somebody looks at them. Well, but there's not a case where one of them kind of bites somebody or what. It takes so long before something happens. Even because when the Cuban guy gets killed, it's the we don't actually see what's doing it. No, we don't. You know what I mean? But then we do see what happens to him, though. We eventually see it, but it's just that's where. I don't disagree with anything you said. I don't think that the characters matter if the rest of the movie is correct. It's not. So all these problems mean that the only real reason to tell anybody to watch this movie is if you want to see some bitchin' practical effects. Oh, and honestly, I will just fast forward to the 50-minute mark and watch it from there. I will agree with you. This movie, if you just want to see really, really well done practical effects, it is worth watching this movie to see them in action. But they are in a bad movie, and that's the problem. It is really good special effects in a bad movie. Yes. No, I'm with you on that. It's a fucking shame because, as you said, on paper, this is bulletproof. Yeah, it has a great pedigree. It's the easiest thing to get right. Yeah. So, I will give this credit. I do like the fact that they do a Event Horizon ending where Jamie Lee Curtis has a nightmare vision of something happening. She wakes up, and I kept waiting for the stinger, the little twist at the end, and there wasn't one. The movie just ends, which actually I like. They beat it. They killed everything. They're free and clear. Done. Movie's over. That's good. I'm good with that. So that part I will give it credit for. It did not have
The unearned confidence in itself to set up a sequel that
There's
would
going to be
never
a
happen.
sequel, guys.
Yes. Which the Mario Brothers movie did, but I think it did it in a way where it doesn't matter there's not a sequel, because you could just imagine it. But even that movie thought it was getting a sequel, which it never got. This movie is just done. Once they beat the virus stuff, the movie ends. And that, I think, was a very smart move. So I like that.
There's a question of, do you know you're in a bad movie when you're making a film? Do actors know? Do they get a vibe and they go,
Oh, definitely.
You know what?
Yeah. There are cases where actors have said, "Oh, yeah, I got a sense pretty early on that this movie had issues." So those cases do exist. And there's also been times where actors said, "Well, you know what? I read the script, and I didn't think I would do it, but the pay was too good." I mean, that's what Michael Caine said about Jaws 4. He said the movie's shit, and I knew it was shit, but it bought me a house.
Yeah.
So fuck it.
Well, that's what Dennis Hopper said to his son. His son said, "Why did you make this crap movie?"
Yeah.
His dad said, Hopper said, "To pay for your shoes."
Yeah. So, no, I definitely think there are those cases. And there's the reverse. You know, there's cases where actors think a movie's going to be terrible, it ends up being very good. And then there are cases where they figure out, oh, no, we've got something special right away. So all those things happen. I think sometimes it's very easy to see. I'm sure on the Mario's Brother movie, it became evident after a while that it was not going to be a smooth film in whatever form it took. Death Machines, it sounds like Norrington made the movie he wanted to make. From what I've read, he was like, no, I did it. I made the movie.
I think
it's good.
of the three that we watched,
Not great,
I think
but for the
Death
budget,
Machine
I did what I
was the
wanted
best.
to. That's good. You know?
I think Death Machine is the best of the three. That we watched? Yeah. And the only reason... No, I like Death Machine more than Super Mario Brothers. I do. Like
I'll disagree with you on that.
Even separating Mario from the game, there's just something about the haywire sci-fi 90s-ness of it. I think Death Machine for me is the perfect 90s schlock sci-fi movie. So of the three, for me, it's the best.
I would have to stick with Mario Brothers because that's the one I'd watch again out of these three. I won't watch Death Machines again. I deleted it off my hard drive when we were done with it. I'm done. Two times is enough.
I deleted Mario Brothers.
Yeah, whereas I want to watch the longer version now. I'm interested to see what they
But here's
put
the
back
thing.
in.
If you told me there was a longer version of Death Machine, right? Where you were like, they cut like 30 minutes out of it.
Yeah, I would be curious, sure.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, as far as I'm aware.
But here's the thing. You know what Mario has that Death Machine... I keep calling it that. Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers has that Death Machine does not?
Mario's girlfriend, but what else?
A whole bunch of bitchin' Italian 90s girls.
That's right.
When he goes into that room to save the Italian girls...
Yeah,
of course you're going to watch that movie again.
Of course I am.
Because you want to be Mario in this movie, man.
Boy, do I.
I mean,
that
listen,
would be a great universe.
Like I said, she should have been. This is Marissa Tomei. I don't know when My Cousin Vinny came out, but this is like the model for Marissa Tomei's character in that movie.
Yeah, well,
Gotta be.
Actually, the funniest. When did My Cousin Vinny come out? Let's see. Hold on, I'm curious about that. It's got to be around the same time. 92, year before.
There you go.
Other way
She
around.
modeled it. Then she must have modeled it off Marissa Tomei.
Yeah. Which, hey, that's a good model to have. But the funny part about that is we didn't record because we don't have to record the commentaries anymore because, fuck everybody. But the point where that woman turned, you see the back of that woman in that dress, and you said, you're like, oh, I see. And I was like, yep.
Yeah. Oh, the second she showed, I was like, oh,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
Got it.
Mike's mom's in this. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But to agree with you, if I found out, which as far as I understand, there is not a longer version of Death Machine. This is the cut that they wanted. If I found out there was a longer version, I would watch it because I'd be curious if it was a lot better.
Yeah.
Not that I think it's bad. There's just something about it that is, I guess for that type of movie, I have so many more better or competent movies.
At the end of the day, I'll go watch Aliens.
That's kind of it. Whereas there is no other version of Mario Brothers that's that weird. And that's the intriguing part for me.
No, I will give you that. You are correct.
Now, again, that's just me, and I'm certainly not telling anybody that they have to agree with me, because you are not wrong that the Italian female quotient of the film, because I will be honest, if Samantha Mathis vanished, I wouldn't care a bit. She's fine, but she ain't my thing. So I'm like, okay, Luigi can have her. Mario made the right decision. We're good. And that's, that's just me, though.
She's the only princess he needs.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So honestly, all these movies, except Virus. Virus is the one where it's like, it's hard to recommend that one.
No, it's quite simple. If you want to watch a bad movie with good special effects. But you know what the problem is? Yeah. It's not even amusing bad. Like some movies are like... I was just going to say, the problem is that first 40 minutes is going to put some people off because it is just clanky.
And
if anything, it pisses you off because you're watching it going, God damn it, this should have been a good movie.
Yes.
How did you fuck it up?
And this is to your point, whether it was James Cameron or somebody else, a better director who had a little bit more input on what was happening, perhaps, or saw what was going on and knew enough to say, this is not working, stop doing that accent. Like, just because, actually, there's a good corollary to Mario, right? At one point in the Mario Brothers movie, and it's well into the film, so this had to be something they shot early, they end up in the pipes underneath the Mushroom Kingdom. And only for that sequence of the movie, Bob Hoskins tries to do a New York accent.
It comes back briefly,
way more than any of the rest of the movie. Like Leguizamo's doing it because he can. But Hoskins does this way exaggerated thing. It's noticeable because the rest of the movie, he really doesn't. He uses phrasing that is New York based. Like, what are you talking about? But he doesn't try to go, what are you talking about? Like, he doesn't do that. He just says the phrase as Bob Hoskins doing American, which is fine. But that sequence where they're in the pipes and he's trying to do the accent,
I think he was trying really hard not to just do the same voice he did in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, and my hunch is that at some point he either realized or somebody said to him, you know what, don't bother. It's fine. You don't have to sound New York oriented. All we need you to do is not sound British. Yeah. We can buy you as an American Italian who does not have a heavy accent, but you can't sound like a Cockney football hooligan who's a Brooklyn plumber. That's people. I mean, they rejected the movie anyway, but that will not fly.
That would be a step too far.
Yes, so I think that scene had to be early on, and then either Hoskins saw the dailies and went, "Oh no, I'll just do straight American." And say the lines. Or somebody heard it and said, Bob, nice try, but we don't want you to be Donald Sutherland of the future. Don't do that. Just go back to what you're doing. Just strip off the across the pondness and you'll be fine. And it was. It really was. He looks...
Who'd have thunk that Mario Brothers would be better than Virus? On paper,
No, it on paper and even describing the movies, you go, oh no. Because the Mario Brothers movie is a very loose adaptation of the game. Virus is a relatively faithful adaptation of the comic, and yet the degree of success is way different than you would expect. It's just the diametric opposite. And again, one of the things that I sit here and go, okay, again, to make the comparison to Donald Sutherland, because honestly, if you look at Mario Brothers versus Virus, which is the most interesting comparison, because we both agree Death Machine is a lot of fun. So the more interesting movies to talk about in comparison are Virus and Mario. And in Virus, nobody said to Donald Sutherland, or Donald Sutherland did not have the self-awareness to say to somebody, this accent ain't working. Whereas in Mario, I said this to you when we were watching. I'm like, somebody was at least smart enough not to give Bob Hoskins a toupee. Because that's the bad decision that you would make.
Bad.
Because Mario has a full head of hair.
That's like Patrick Stewart, when they wanted Patrick Stewart to wear a toupee. And
yes.
They did the test filmings of it.
And it was awful.
Yeah.
Because he looks enough like Mario anyway. You don't need to go that extra route. And he was still excellent. Like Bob Hoskins, I have yet to see him in something and go, wow, he's pretty bad in that. No. Smee is great. Like everything.
No,
Everything Bob Hoskins pops up in.
Even in that movie he did with Jet Li, where he's basically playing a generic villain. Like, he's still good as a generic
He's still
villain.
a lot of fun.
And honestly,
Yes.
because you're not used to seeing him that way, it's like even creepier because you're like, oh my god, it's like Bob.
Right.
Fucking Mario,
Yeah.
what happened?
Right. Yeah.
Like, Wario. Right? Actually,
he would have been a great Wario, too.
oh yeah, he would have, yeah.
He should have just played both roles if they ever made that.
Well, he could have. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yes, Virus, only watch the special effects stuff. Don't bother. Unless you really... But again, like you said, it's not fun trash. We've watched fun garbage, and it's fun. This is not fun garbage. This is, Jesus Christ, why did you do this garbage? And then you get these great practical effects, which are utterly wasted in a movie that is not worthy of them, which sucks. Because I would have loved a fun movie with those effects, because to compare it to Death Machine is more consistently fun beginning to end. It's just a lot of fun. The machine itself it's a neat machine, but it's not anything truly memorable. Whereas some of the machines in Virus are very disturbingly memorable. They're very, like the one that when Donald Sutherland shows up, and this is another crime of him only doing the one day, you see him go in with the machines, and there's a torso sitting there that's been cut off. It's just like the torso, no arms, and just the neck, like cut off. When he then shows up, that's his torso. They've cut his head off and sewn it onto that body with different arms. I noticed it because it's got a tattoo on it, but you only see it for maybe 45 seconds. And I'm like, that's a waste.
He should have been this creepy problem they had to run away from. He should have been after them. He should have been there for a little bit, at least another 15 minutes.
Yes.
But instead he's like, hey, I'm back and I'm still drunk. And then they're like, throw him down the stairs. And
And that's all. And that's what they do. They just get rid of him very, very simply. He's dispatched with no effort. And so Death Machine has a machine that is more generic in terms of its design than anything in Virus. But Virus is the movie I would tell you not to watch. Watch Death Machine, because you'll have more fun. And that sucks, because, you and I are both champions of good special effects when they're practical. And this has really great... Virus, I'm saying, has really good practical effects that are completely blown.
Yeah, but that is the thing. If it's a bad enough movie, you can't...
Yeah, you can't.
This goes back to Sucker Punch, right? I love the action sequences in that movie. Hate the movie.
Yeah.
I go and I rewatch those action sequences now and then. Isolated from the movie. Great time, walk away. That doesn't mean that the movie's good. It's a bad movie. Action sequences, lots of fun. And that's this. I mean, that is just simply this. You can have really great... what was the other movie that was directed by a special effects guy? There's something in the last 10 years where the special effects were great, but the movie itself, you were like, maybe we should have gotten a real director for this. I can't remember.
No, there's been a couple of those.
Yeah, but I mean, and I feel bad because I don't think did this guy get another chance after this, or did this effectively sink him?
That's a good question. Let's take a look. I'm curious. I didn't actually look to see if the guy had done anything else. Let's see. Director was John Bruno. Oh no. He did. After that, he did a couple. Well, not really. He did a couple episodes of Voyager, Star Trek. He did a 3D deep sea movie with James Cameron. What a surprise! The one where James Cameron went into with his little submersible.
He directed it for him.
That's what it says. 2014.
Oh, interesting.
Director.
Well, there you go. So Cameron gave him a break.
Yeah. Well, I think he understood that maybe he wasn't director for everything, but for something that's very. Hey, this is exactly what we're talking about, right? Something like that. You're not really directing actors. You're making everything look good. So, but I mean, you look at his visual effects filmography, and it's just Poltergeist, Ghostbusters, Fright Night, The Abyss, Terminator 2, Batman Returns, Cliffhanger, True Lies, Titanic. He was a consultant on Titanic. X-Men: The Last Stand. Put the movie aside, effects were good. Avatar, Kingsman: The Secret Service. I mean, so he's done stuff. He's done lots of stuff.
Good. Then you know what? I'm glad that they acknowledged his special effects were amazing, and he kept working.
he was nominated for Academy Awards for effects. So that, yeah,
Good.
but as far as directing, really, he did a segment of Heavy Metal, which was 81. He did the T2 3D ride that they did at Universal or whatever, Virus, and that's the only true film he ever did. So, you know.
I wonder if it put him off.
I wouldn't be shocked if it was kind of a mutual agreed split where the industry was like, you know what, maybe we'll stick with effects work. And he was like, you know what, maybe I'll stick with effects work. And that's where his paychecks come from, which is fine. I mean, he's still in operation as a visual effects artist as of today.
Good.
So
because his visual effects were great.
Yeah.
So, well, there you go.
Abyss. I mean, Jesus Christ, you worked on The Abyss and Terminator 2.
Oh,
so,
I did. There was a funny detail about Virus, though. So the prop that they used, so the boat that they used for the movie, right? That big cool boat that you like. That boat was basically sitting in a shipyard and was like totally falling apart, right? So for the sake of money, they only renovated I think it was the left side of the ship. Basically, the side you see of the ship is the only part of the ship they renovated. If you saw the other side, it would have been like a rusted piece of shit. Because they were like, we only need to do the one side because that's the only side you're going to see. I thought that was so funny.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, hey, you know what though? That side looked really good.
It did, yeah.
So, you know. Again, the shame of that movie is that a lot of very good visual effects work is just completely destroyed by bad decisions in terms of the non-special effects portions. And there's too much of it to even overlook. Whereas in Death Machine, that movie has its problems, but none of them matter because it is running on the fuel of great visuals, a lot of fun acting. Good or not is very subjective in that particular arena.
And it doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's already an apeshit movie. So, yeah.
Honestly, really the only bad thing about that movie is when that guy's yelling when he becomes a mech, which I found to be borderline unlistenable, but it's brief. And his suit is so cool, you don't care. You really don't. So, and if Brad Dourif's around, I forgive a lot of sins. Even though, as you pointed out, there's yet to be a movie where I find him physically threatening. You are correct. His threat is always in his verbal assaults.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, they made a whole movie about him playing this little doll that you could easily kick across the room. And somehow he's murdering people left and right. And continues to for like 6 movies. So, suspension of disbelief does a lot.
I think it's because you can't kill Chucky easily. Because he's already kind of dead.
Oh, no, I don't disagree. But you can easily kick him away over and over and over.
Yes.
I mean, he's coming back. He's really got to get the drop on you the right way for you not to very quickly either run away, because how fast can that thing really run?
Yeah, I know.
Or kick him over the cliffside and then get in a car and drive to another state. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You can... Chucky is easily defeatable if you keep your mind and your wits about you. He's easily put off. Not killed necessarily, but put off. Also, I would argue that if you encase him in a metal box and weld it shut and bury it in the ocean,
concrete
or concrete him, it's gonna take a while before he gets back to you. So, that's all I'm saying is the right movie can make something that is insane, very, very likable and believable, and last for a bunch of movies. And in the right movie with all the right ingredients, if it's done wrong, it's not recommendable to anybody. So Mario Brothers, I would recommend to anybody open to something a little different. You'll probably have a lot of fun. Or if you're a Bob Hoskins fan, which I am, at least you know Bob Hoskins is solid. If you like women from New York City, hey, you're going to have a good time. So that's easy. You check those boxes right off. Or if you're a John Leguizamo fan, he's good in it. Check it off. If you want to see a movie where the future is most easily visually realized by using soundproofing equipment, because everything is just big foam spikes, also check that right off. You got it. So Mario Brothers is easy, except that it's not easy to watch, but it is on YouTube and other places, so you can watch it. Death Machine is probably the most universally easily recommended one, because I think not only is that one a lot of fun for anybody who likes just general science fiction movies, but also I think it's on every streaming service. Yeah, Tubi, it's on all the free services, so you can easily watch it. It's just a shade over 90 minutes, and really, as Lando said, 10 minutes of that's credits, so it's really 90 minutes. It's a lot of fun, all practical effects, some goofy suits that are endearingly great. And then Virus, if you want to see some good effects, skip 50 minutes in and watch that. And try to ignore Donald Sutherland when he speaks. Hit mute. It's your best option. And if you want a better version of that movie, there's a ton. Aliens. It's imitating Event Horizon. I'd say watch Event Horizon. It's a better horror movie than Virus is. Or read the comic, which is what I'm going to do. Honestly, what Virus did most effectively for me is make me want to read the comic, which from all accounts I've read is very good. And I'm pretty sure that I don't have to imagine the accent that Donald Sutherland's doing. I'm hoping I could just purge that from whatever the captain is and not hear that. Oh, I won't, because it's just so awful. I've already kind of forgotten it, but I know it was bad. So, yeah. This is a rare case where I don't have really any defense for Virus. It's just not very good. And that's a shame. But I'm very happy you didn't hate Super Mario Brothers, because I wasn't sure. So it's good that it worked out better. I still love it as a weird, strange adaptation in a style that we're unlikely to see for a while. I don't think Nintendo would allow anything like this to happen right now. I don't know whether in the future they'll ever get experimental like this again. I would hope so, because I think that it is fun to stretch concepts. That's one of the things. There's all this interesting stuff. Also, we didn't even mention the tremendous waste of, speaking of aliens, Lance Henriksen, who shows up for one scene and then is just not there as the Fungus King. Yeah, 2 seconds. But even that, I like that interpretation of the Mushroom Kingdom. Like there is interesting stuff in there. So maybe someday somebody will make something like that again. I would hope so. It's interesting to take concepts that seem very clearly defined and stretch them a bit. But yeah, the easiest recommendation for everybody is Death Machine. I would also recommend to anybody interested the Mario Brothers movie. If you've only ever heard it's bad, but you've never actually seen it, watch it. Watch it. You know what?
Watch it, then watch Virus and decide what's bad.
Oh. Yeah, well, I mean... Oh, I'm sorry. We did watch the director's cut of Death Machine. I forgot. There was a shorter edit. We watched the longer one.
Oh, okay.
I just thought of that. I'm like, oh yeah, I looked it up. We did watch the longest version, the one that Stephen Norrington calls his director's cut. So there is no additional footage that we didn't see that wasn't already. That's right. We did see it. So there are multiple cuts. The longest one is the director's cut, and that's the one we watched. So that one is the most entertaining. And if you're a Rachel Weisz fan, well, she's in one scene, so don't show up for that. But
2 seconds.
But you'll have fun nonetheless seeing her very young with an eyebrow ring, pop in and out. And if you want to see Dick Brake shrieking, going to get a good amount of that. If you want to see Brad Dourif acting like a spoiled child, going to get a lot of that. And some great kind of 90s sci-fi special effects and a lot of aliens. A lot of it. So, yeah. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Could have been worse. Could have been Colossal and, God, whatever those 2 awful movies we watched that one week. I really just tried not to have another week like that, where it's just like, oh, God, no, don't watch any of this. So far, we've managed to elude that blip on the radar.
You know what? Hey, listen, I'll tell you what. I don't regret seeing Virus. I think Virus was very educational.
No, I don't regret watching it, but...
And I don't regret seeing those visuals.
No, I like the visuals. I just wish...
But it is a bad movie.
Okay. For me, a lot of times, I have to talk myself into credibly recommending movies to people that even I know that most standard issue movie watchers, and I don't say that as a negative, I'm just saying it as mainstream viewers, There's movies where I'm trying to get a mainstream viewer to stretch just a bit because I think that there's enough in there that they will not feel, you know how I always say the 10 to 15 minute thing? You can't, I don't think most people will make 10 to 15 minutes of Virus and not give up. And I can't blame them because there's really not much in that opening. You get the electrical feel, but you never see any of the machines that might go, oh, wait, these are going to be showing up later? That was neat looking. You don't get any of that. It just freaks out and everybody shrieks and there's a lightning bolt and then you cut to the boat with the crew. So you don't even get a tease. Even Aliens, right? To go back to Aliens, because it's a great comparison point for this. Aliens starts off and there's the point where you see there's the father shrieking with the alien on its face. You know what I mean? And so you're like, oh shit, even if you didn't know what the aliens were, you know something bad is going to show up in like an hour. And it's going to be fucked up.
That's the director's cut, though.
Do they not show him with the thing on his face?
Aliens, you know how Aliens starts?
Yeah.
With them cutting the door open and finding her. And then bringing her to the facility. Oh, yeah, that's right. That was...
And
then she has the dream. I don't like that version
as much.
She has the dream, and the thing pops out of her chest, and then she wakes up, and she calls Burke or something like that. Yeah. No, you don't... And the other thing is so that when you get to the station, you have no idea what's there.
Yeah.
And you are left, along with the Marines, trying to figure out what the fuck happened.
Yeah, I never... You know what? I never watched that version. I prefer the director's cut.
That's the version that most people watch.
Yeah, that's funny because I don't even remember that one. I don't remember the opening that way. I remember the other one, which I think is better. But in either event, I think in Aliens it obviously worked. In Virus, it would not. Nobody would make it. Maybe it's the nightmare thing that works better than the electro storm on the boat. But
yeah.
In any event, it's Death Machines, fairly universal. Super Mario Brothers, I think it's a charming movie to watch as a weird adaptation. And Virus, only if you're going to get to the second half for the special effects. Otherwise, it's a slog. It just is, to use a very popular term at the moment.
There you go.
Other than that, I don't know that I could recommend it to anybody. On that note, that's it. Next week might be very interesting. I'll just say that. Well, one movie is kind of a sure bet because we know what it is, which is Space Truckers. I already know we're watching that because that's a double feature setup. So we know Debbie Mazar, a New York City woman. So I know I'm going to like Space Truckers. That's fine. The other two, they reviewed very well. They sound really good. But that's happened before. So we'll see. On that note, everybody, barring any type of deep-level tragedy or asteroid, EMP attack, or stupid law that bans anything interesting, we will... that's it. Yeah, maybe we'll be here next week. Maybe we won't. I guess we'll, just like the rest of life, we'll roll the dice and we'll see. So, maybe. All right. Bye. Visit OzoneNightmare.com to subscribe to new episodes or to browse through our back catalog. Email questions or comments to ozonenightmare@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the show, visit supportourshow.com and select whatever option works best for you. The opening theme for the show is provided by Heartbeat Hero. The closing theme is provided by Ogre. Please visit and support these artists using the links in the show notes for each episode.